Chapter 176. At this moment, the two sects were already in chaos. Over at the Coiling Stone sect, the previous sect master had died tragically at the hands of the devil disaster, and the previous vice sect master, Yin Zongping, had taken over the position of sect master. In the end, he hadn't even warmed up his seat when he received news of Yuan's sect's large-scale attack. He just needed to use his brain. Yin Zongping basically knew the reason why Origin sect would launch a large-scale attack. He didn't expect Qin Shujian to be so vengeful. He had only made a move when he was trying to snatch the Azure Lotus. Before he had the chance to injure the other party, he had already been scared away. From beginning to end, Yin Zongping realized that he was just a bystander. But even so, he still bore a grudge against him. She thought of the scene where Qin Shujian had a gentle smile on his face. Yin Zongping finally understood what it meant to hide a dagger in a smile. Things are getting troublesome. He took a deep breath and felt that his legs and stomach were not listening to him. Let's not talk about the 1,000+ inner energy stage practitioners. Qin Shujian alone was not someone the Coiling Stone sect could resist. Back then, dozens of physical invulnerability realm experts had joined forces, but they had still been beaten to a pulp. The sharpness of the 1,000 mountain blood and the terror of the great wilderness devil suppression seal were still fresh in his mind. At this moment, a powerful aura came crashing down as if the sky was collapsing. The entire Coiling Stone sect trembled slightly. Sect Master, this is bad. The people from Yuan sect are about to arrive. Come with me and have a look. Without the reminder of the elder who came in, Yin Zongping also received the warning of the heavenly axiom. After taking a few deep breaths, he barely stabilized his mind and walked out of the sect hall. At this moment, the disciples of the Coiling Stone sect were in a state of panic. Sect leader, the Coiling Stone sect has arrived. An inner energy realm deacon stepped forward and coldly looked at the mountain peak before him as he spoke in a deep voice. Qin Shujian raised his head and looked at the sky. The heaven and earth spirit qi was lingering there, making the heaven and earth spirit qi much denser than other places. He didn't say much. He simply waved his hand and spat out a single word. Kill. Hearing this, more than 500 physical invulnerability realm cultivators unleashed their auras and charged towards the Coiling Stone sect at lightning speed. As for the other players, at this moment, they didn't dare to fall behind as they followed closely behind these inner energy realm cultivators. All the players understood. This was basically a smooth sailing battle. With so many inner energy cultivators and sect master Qin Shujian personally overseeing the situation, the Coiling Stone sect had no chance of resisting. Boom! The eruption of true essence shattered the mountain rocks. In less than a breath's time, the mountain gate of the Coiling Stone sect was crushed. What a powerful commotion! This caused the hearts of the Coiling Stone sect disciples to tremble. Hold on! A loud shout rang out, followed by the appearance of Gang Qi, destroying the qi of several inner energy stage cultivators. Yin Zongping was escorted by a group of experts from the Coiling Stone sect. His eyelids twitched as he looked at the experts from the Yuan sect. When they saw Qin Shujian walking slowly over the ruins, they were shocked. He hurriedly cupped his hands and said, Sect Master Qin, if you have something to say, let's talk it out. The previous matter was my fault. I hope that Sect Master Qin can be magnanimous and forgive me this time. If you have any requests, I will do my best to fulfill them. After saying this, Yin Zongping didn't blush at all. What was face? More than 500 inner energy stage cultivators standing in front of them were enough to trample on the face of any true Dominion sect. Not to mention, there was an even more terrifying sect master of the Yuan sect. Hand over the Coiling Stone sect's sect guarding treasure, and the Coiling Stone sect will completely merge with the Yuan sect. Sect Master Qin, you are making things difficult for us. Why don't you change your conditions? I will definitely comply. Yin Zongping's expression was ugly, but he didn't dare show it. Then there is no room for discussion. Qin Shujian's expression was calm as he said lightly, What are you waiting for? Do you want me to teach you what to do? Kill. Upon hearing this, the people from the Yuan sect were shocked. They immediately charged towards the Coiling Stone sect. In an instant, more than 10 Coiling Stone sect disciples were killed. Even Yin Zongping had no choice but to release his protective Gang Qi to block the oncoming attack. He then looked at Qin Shujian with a furious expression. Do you really want to fight to the death? The fish will die, but the net will not break. Qin Shujian shook his head slightly. It was also at this moment that a terrifying wave of energy exploded from the coiling stone sect. It was like a rainbow piercing through the sun as it rushed towards Qin Shujian's face. That intimidating might cause the faces of those who sensed it to change drastically. The people from the Yuan sect wanted to warn him, but it was too late. However, the rainbow was fast, but there was something faster than it. Bang! A snow-white blade light appeared like flowing water. A vast aura suddenly erupted. In an instant, everyone's heart sank. When the blade light collided with the rainbow, there was no surprise. The rainbow was directly broken in half and fell to the ground. What replaced it was a long blade. The Thunder Dao seal on the blade was faintly discernible. It was as terrifying as the heavens. No, it's impossible. Yin Zongping was shocked. He couldn't even stand properly. He looked at the crystal arrow that was broken into two on the ground. There was still an inextinguishable luster flowing within it. Innate spiritual item, cloud-piercing arrow. Its power was comparable to a mid-grade spiritual weapon. This was the true foundation of the Coiling Stone sect. It was also the most advantageous trump card of the Coiling Stone sect against external enemies. Even if it was an expert at the peak of the true martial realm, without the protection of a strong armor, the cloud-piercing arrow would still kill him. The cloud-piercing arrow was the pinnacle of battle. It was able to kill a spiritual martial realm expert in the spirit zone with one arrow. That was the true pinnacle of the Coiling Stone sect. Originally, Yin Zongping had planned to use the cloud-piercing arrow to kill Qin Shujian if he didn't want to back down. Even if he had a half-step Dao artifact, the outcome would be the same. After all, the other party's half-step Dao artifact was not an armor type. This was also the reason why he insisted on taking the last step and not backing down. With the cloud-piercing arrow, he did have the confidence to do so. However, when he saw the 1,000 mountain blood above the Coiling Stone sect, the terrifying heavens within the Thunder Dao seal made Yin Zongping's heart tremble. An uncontrollable fear rose from the bottom of his heart. A Dao artifact, not a half-step Dao artifact, but a true Dao artifact. Even the cloud-piercing arrow, which was comparable to a mid-grade spiritual weapon, was cut in half. A Dao artifact protecting its owner was nothing more than this. Qin, / Just as Yin Zongping was about to speak, an indifferent voice sounded. Immediately after, the 1,000 mountain blood above the Coiling Stone sect's head slashed down. Yin Zongping had just put up his protective qi when it was destroyed in an instant. He had completely fallen under this slash. When Yin Zongping died, the Coiling Stone sect's 2 outer invulnerability realm elders and a few inner invulnerability realm experts had all fallen. Under the attack of more than 500 inner invulnerability realm adepts, outer invulnerability realm adepts were nothing but clay chickens and pottery dogs. At this moment, a desolate figure rushed over from afar and knelt down in front of Qin Shujian. Sect Master Qin, I am willing to join the Yuan sect. Please spare my life. You are not worthy of joining the Yuan sect. Seeing this, a Yuan sect expert was about to kill him. Qin Shujian's spiritual eye moved slightly. Immediately after, he said, Wait. A simple word. The inner invulnerability realm cultivator immediately retracted his true Yuan and retreated to the side. The Coiling Stone sect disciple who was kneeling on the ground trembled slightly, as if he could feel death in front of him. However, he resisted the urge to run away. What is your name? My name is Lin Daozhen. Lin Daozhen? Qin Shujian's expression did not change. He said indifferently, If I let you join the Yuan sect, what benefits can you bring me? The cloud-piercing arrow is only one of the treasures of the Coiling Stone sect. There is another treasure, the Chinkuan Bao. I happen to know where it is. Afraid that his offer was not attractive enough, Lin Daozhen swallowed his saliva and continued, Furthermore, I know where the treasure vault of the Coiling Stone sect is. I can tell you all of this. I only hope that you will give me the opportunity to join the Yuan sect after this. At the end of his sentence, he raised his head and looked straight at Qin Shujian. Looking at the other party's face, which was a mixture of sweat and blood, only a pair of dim eyes showed a strong desire. That was the desire for life. Looking at the ruins of the Coiling Stone sect and the people of Yuan's sect who were killing the remaining disciples of the Coiling Stone sect, Qin Shujian nodded slightly and said, "All right, I will give you this opportunity." Hearing this, Lin Daoxuan's attributes appeared in front of his eyes completely. When he saw the other party's loyalty, Qin Shujian's eyes flickered. Loyalty of 98 points. This was close to the level of being loyal to the death. Even in the current Yuan sect, this loyalty was much higher than most people. Seeing this, Qin Shujian took note of Lin Daoxuan's name. He did not consider who the other party was in the past and whether he had betrayed the sect in order to survive. He wanted it only to the people of the Yuan sect. As long as they were loyal to the Yuan sect and were loyal to him, that was enough. "Stop for now," Qin Shujian said lightly, but his voice spread throughout the entire Coiling Stone sect. The people of Yuan's sect who were killing the remaining disciples of the Coiling Stone sect had no choice but to stop now. Now, almost all the cultivators of the true martial realm in the Coiling Stone sect were dead. The hunter shoots the bird that sticks out. Those with high cultivation were targeted by the people of Yuan's sect immediately. The remaining people, they were all in the basic martial realm. Some of these people had fear in their eyes, and some could not help but sit on the ground. Qin Shujian said coldly, "I will give you 3 breaths of time. Those who are willing to surrender to the Yuan sect and do not hold any grudges will be spared. Those who are stubborn and resist will be killed on the spot." After saying this, immediately someone cried out, "I am willing to surrender. We are willing to surrender." Good. Now all the survivors of the Coiling Stone sect, gather here immediately. If you want to hide secretly, once I find you, kill without mercy. Hearing this, the people of the Coiling Stone sect quickly came in front of Qin Shujian one after another. As for the people of Yuan's sect, without Qin Shujian's order, they did not dare to act recklessly. They only stared at the people of the Coiling Stone sect like tigers watching their prey. As long as there was something wrong, they would ruthlessly kill. Chapter 177. Looking at the group of Coiling Stone sect disciples in front of him, Qin Shujian roughly looked. There were about 500 to 600 people. Enter my Yuan sect and stand to the left. Those who are willing to live and die with the Coiling Stone sect can stay where they are. I'll give you 10 breaths to make your choice. After saying that, most of the Coiling Stone sect disciples hurriedly moved to the left, afraid that they would lose their lives if they were a step slower. However, not all of the Coiling Stone sect disciples were afraid of death. There were still dozens of people who stood in the same place. For these people, Qin Shujian did not ask for the reason, but simply spat out a word, "Kill." In an instant, true essence exploded, killing all of these disciples. This scene directly made the remaining people tremble. Qin Shujian's eyes were calm from the beginning to the end. These disciples who were unwilling to surrender were indeed worthy of admiration, but admiration was secondary. He did not intend to leave any future troubles. Cut the grass without removing the roots. The spring breeze blew on the young generation. No one knew if there would be anyone who would become an expert in the future. When the time came to attack Yuan's sect, it would be others' turn to decide their own survival. Then, Qin Shujian looked at those who chose to surrender and said, "From today onwards, you are Yuan's sect's odd job disciples. As long as you perform well, Yuan's sect will treat you equally. Your future is completely in your hands." Greetings, sect master. Good. Qin Shujian's spiritual eye flashed, then swept across the odd job disciples one by one. Qin Shanxue stood in the air, as if overlooking the existence of the world. All of a sudden, a terrifying blade chi shot out, directly killing an odd job disciple. The sudden turn of events gave everyone a fright. Don't panic. As long as you don't have any disloyalty, your life will not be in danger. Qin Shujian's words made them feel a little more at ease, but they still did not stand uneasily. To this, Qin Shujian did not pay much attention to it. His spiritual eye continued to scan, and let Qin Shanxue kill anyone whose loyalty was in the negative. He did not even need to find out, so as not to waste time. For a moment, Blade chi overflowed continuously. In the end, dozens more people died. It wasn't until the last day that Qin Shujian withdrew his gaze. He turned to Lin Daojian and said, "From now on, these people will be under your command. If there are any who have bad intentions, you can kill them first and report later." Disciple obeys. Lin Daojian was overjoyed. He immediately lowered his head and replied respectfully. Qin Shujian then said to the other Yuan sect disciples, "You guys go and search for the martial arts of the Coiling Stone sect. Bring me to see where the bow of heaven and earth is." The last sentence was directed at Lin Daojian. "Sect leader, please follow me." Lin Daojian took the lead and led the way. Qin Shujian reached out and grabbed the broken piercing cloud arrow, then put it into his storage ring and followed Lin Daojian deep into the Coiling Stone sect. After receiving the order, the disciples of Yuan sect also headed towards the place where the Coiling Stone sect stored their martial arts techniques. Every sect, they all had places similar to Yuan sect's book collection pavilion. In addition, the people who had become Yuan sect's odd job workers were also disciples of the Coiling Stone sect in their previous lives. They were very clear about these places. On the other side, although Dao Master Lin was only an inner disciple, he had secretly investigated the situation of the Coiling Stone sect. Originally, according to his plan, he wanted to find an opportunity to viciously plot against the Coiling Stone sect. However, the opportunity did not come. Instead, he was waiting for the opportunity to destroy the Coiling Stone sect. To Lin Daojian, the current outcome was more satisfying than he had expected. He was familiar with the place. He directly led Qin Shujian left and right and finally entered a side hall. The moment he stepped into the side hall, Qin Shujian could feel a strong wave of spirit qi. He saw a longbow hanging in front of the side hall. There were inscriptions engraved on it, as if it was naturally formed. A strong aura was overflowing from it. "Who are you people? How dare you trespass here?" A thought rose from the longbow and turned into a thunderous voice. Qin Shujian frowned and looked at the longbow in front of him. His eyes flickered. The birth of spiritual intelligence. This was something that could be done by any spiritual artifact-grade treasure. However, to be able to communicate with ordinary people without any mistakes, it had to be nurtured over a long period of time so that its spiritual intelligence would continue to grow. Only then could it finally achieve this step. Of course, the higher the grade, the faster the spiritual intelligence would be nurtured. However, no matter how fast it could not be done in a short period of time. For example, the Thousand Mountain Blood was already a Tao artifact, but its spiritual intelligence was only at the level of telepathy. If it was like the bow of heaven and earth, it would at least need a long period of nurturing. "Were you the one who shot at me just now?" "You are the owner of that Tao artifact." The bow of heaven and earth trembled slightly, as if it felt threatened. "Then get down here." After finding the culprit, Qin Shujian did not waste time talking nonsense with him. He directly used his true essence to take the bow of heaven and earth. Feeling threatened, the bow of heaven and earth was about to explode with spiritual energy to resist. Hum! The sound of a blade rang out, causing the bow of heaven and earth to tremble again. The spiritual energy that was originally prepared to resist was forcibly dispersed, and then Qin Shujian took it down. Subsequently, with a flash, the bow of heaven and earth was already stored in the storage ring. He did not have time to study these innate spiritual objects. Everything would wait until he returned. Sect Master is invincible. Even the bow of heaven and earth can be easily taken down. Lin Daojian flattered without leaving a trace, but he was truly shocked in his heart. The bow of heaven and earth was the most precious treasure of the Coiling Stone sect. He did not know how strong it was, but just by listening to the rumors, one could know that it was an extremely terrifying weapon. Qin Shujian did not comment and said, "Where is the treasure vault of the Coiling Stone sect?" "It's here." Lin Daojian came to the wall on the other side of the side hall and said, "This is the place where the bow of heaven and earth is stored." At the same time, the bow of heaven and earth is also the existence of the treasure vault. But thinking about it, to enter here, we still need to find a secret door. While talking, he had already felt around some of the things. After all, as an inner disciple, it was not easy to find out where the treasure vault was. It was too difficult to find out the way to open the treasure vault. No need to be so troublesome. Step back. Although Lindaugen did not understand, he still stepped back. Then, Qin Shujian released a stream of energy and directly bombarded the wall. Rumble. The entire side hall was shaking. After the energy dissipated, although the wall in front of him was a little broken, it was still intact. Qin Shujian's face darkened and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Then, this awkwardness turned into anger. This time, he did not hold back any of his strength. All of his true origin surged and turned into energy that bombarded the wall. The surface of the wall peeled off, revealing the darkness inside. Under the full force of the peak of the true martial realm, the door of the treasure vault was still not opened. Sect Master, why don't I look for the mechanism? Step back a little further. Qin Shujian's face was gloomy and directly asked Lindaugen to step back. This time, he was going to go all out with the treasure vault. Then, he formed a seal with both hands, and a terrifying and vast power gathered in it. Then, as if the sky was falling, the terrifying power directly landed on the dark wall. Great Wilderness Demon Suppression Seal, Moving Mountain Seal, a mid-grade divine-level martial art. Once used, it was earth-shattering. A terrifying force erupted, and the entire side hall collapsed under this force. Lindaugen did not have time to be shocked. When the side hall collapsed, he was the first to retreat. Rumble. The side hall collapsed, raising a cloud of dust. By the time the dust had settled, Yi Zichen had already made his move. When Lindaugen looked over, he saw that the dark wall had been completely shattered. On the ground behind the wall, there was a black hole, and he could vaguely see a staircase. This is the treasure vault of the Coiling Stone sect. Although he was shocked by Qin Shujian's strength, he still came to the entrance and said, "Go down." Yes, Lindaugen looked at the black hole, but he still walked in. A peak of the basic level martial realm cultivator might not be very strong, but seeing in the dark was not a big problem. After Lindaugen went down, Qin Shujian followed along the staircase. The surroundings were dark, but in the spirit eye, it was as bright as day. He was not worried about any traps. Not to mention Lindaugen's loyalty, with his current strength, there was no one in the Coiling Stone sect who could pose a threat to him. The staircase was not long, and it took less than a minute to reach the bottom. The originally small and narrow space suddenly became spacious and open. In a spacious secret room, the walls were inlaid with a few small jade stones. They shone faintly, illuminating the room so that ordinary people could see normally. Through the light, one could clearly see that there were 3 or 4 tall shelves in the secret room. On top of them were different weapons. A faint cold light circulated among them, indicating that these weapons were not of low quality. On the other side, there were dozens of chests. When Qin Shujian opened them, he saw that some of the chests were filled with precious ores. There were also a few jade boxes filled with spirit treasures. Next, the rest of the chests were very straightforward. They were all white and shiny silver tails. Seeing this, a smile finally appeared on Qin Shujian's face. He touched the chests and kept them in his storage ring. Soon, the entire storage ring was filled to the brim. At first, he thought that the space of 3 feet was a little small. Only now did he realize that the space of 3 feet was not small at all. He had emptied the treasury of the Coiling Stone sect. You have a total of 135,000 silver. Looking at the system's information, Qin Shujian had a clear idea of the amount of silver he had seized. 130,000 silver. That was not a small amount. Even if the Sky Origin sect did not have that much, it was still a problem. As for Lindaugen, although he was envious of such things, he also knew his identity. Therefore, he only stood respectfully at the side and did not move. Let's go. After glancing at the empty treasury, Qin Shujian was about to turn around and leave. All of a sudden, he stopped in his tracks and looked sideways at the jade stones on the wall. Then, he walked over and dug out all the jade stones. Then, he put them into his storage ring. The treasury became dark all of a sudden. This time, Qin Shujian looked at it carefully. After making sure that he didn't miss anything, he left with Lindaugen. At the same time, The people of the Sky Origin sect had also emptied all the valuable items of the Coiling Stone sect. Finally, they piled them up in an empty space. Among them, there were various cultivation methods and martial arts that Qin Shujian had been longing for. Chapter 178. Soon, the video of Yuan Zhong's annihilation was uploaded. The players who had been paying attention to this battle, when the video appeared, they immediately clicked on it. It didn't take long for the video to end. However, all the players who watched the video remained silent. Then, they were completely shocked. Strong. Terrifyingly strong. Even though Yuan Zhong's strength had been separated, Yunwu sect and Monolith sect still couldn't resist. They were drowned by the terrifying number of inner energy realm cultivators. Especially the scene where Qin Shujian killed the Monolith sect master with one slash. It was even more shocking. Suddenly, many people seemed to have seen the methods of the Liangshan stockade master who had massacred the entire village. Your stockade master is still your stockade master. The big boss is still the big boss. Originally, some players wanted to find a chance to attack the Liangshan stockade master because their strength had increased. This was a legendary boss among the players. However, after watching the video, most people extinguished this thought. That's right. There were many players who had entered the true martial realm at this stage. However, they had only just entered the true martial realm. An NPC who was obviously in the outer energy realm couldn't even resist and was killed in one move. Such terrifying strength wasn't something that the players at this stage could contend with. As for the Monolith sect and Yunwu sect players, there was only one thought in their minds. That was, it was good to run fast. Although the punishment for betraying the sect was severe, they felt that they would definitely trigger a compulsory mission based on the situation in the video. Then, they would be repeatedly killed by Yuan Zhong's people in the sect. In such an overwhelming situation, the strength of both sides was not even on the same level. On the other side, there were still people from the Monolith sect who surrendered. However, on the Yunwu sect side, Yuan Zhong's elder carried out Qin Shujian's orders perfectly and wiped the entire Yunwu sect from the Northern Heaven's true domain. As for the Yunwu sect's treasure and all their loot, they were brought over by Canghong and the others. It was similar to the Monolith sect. The Yunwu sect's treasure was an innate spiritual item that was comparable to a spiritual weapon. After keeping it in his storage ring, Qin Shujian looked at the huge pile of loot in front of him. Then, he took out the items in his storage ring. Seeing the sudden appearance of the items, many people were stunned, but they quickly recovered. Elder Fu, take a group of people and bring these items back to the Origin sect, along with the people from the Coiling Stone sect. As for the rest, follow me to the true domain of the Fenghai sect. Yes, Fu Gang was startled at first, but he quickly regained his senses. As for the other players, at this moment, a new quest notification appeared in their minds. The first phase of the mission was completed. However, the words Large-Scale Faction Mission 2 appeared in the second phase. Shortly after, Qin Shujian led the group of Yuan sect disciples and continued to head toward the Fenghai True Dominion. Yuan Zhong had made such a big move. He had never thought of stopping after destroying 2 sections. This time, Qin Shujian wanted all the sects in the True Dominion to be terror-stricken when they heard the name of the Origin sect. He wanted them to understand that anyone who tried to oppose the Origin sect would only end up dead. Also, although Yuan Zhong's strength was tyrannical, other than the batch of people recruited later on, there were not many who had experienced bloody battles. This time, he could also make use of this opportunity to train the troops and let the people of Yuan sect truly see blood. As for the players, he could also let them see the true strength of Yuan sect. There would always be some people who would have unnecessary thoughts. Qin Shujian expressed that he could still afford to pay a small amount of life force source. After all, the wool came from the sheep. Not long after the people of Yuan sect left, people immediately came to check on the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect. When they arrived, they could only see the ruins of the sect gate. As for the people of the 2 sects, none of them were left. In an instant, the news of the destruction of the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect spread like wildfire. Besides the Northern Heavens True Dominion, even the nearby Mystic Void True Dominion and the Blue River True Dominion received the news of the destruction of the two sections. Everyone who heard this news was shocked. However, they also felt that it was only natural. More than 1,000 inner Aura Realm cultivators could easily crush any True Dominion sect. However, even if they had expected this, when the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect were destroyed, they could not help but feel shocked. Faintly, they also felt sympathy for the loss of the two sections. This was especially so for the Monolith sect. It had existed in the Northern Heavens True Dominion for more than 1,000 years and was considered a large sect with a strong foundation. Even though it had declined in recent years, it still possessed the Cosmic Bow and the Cloud-Piercing Arrow, which were the cornerstone treasures of the region. Even though the Monolith sect had declined, not many people dared to provoke it. In fact, there were not many people who were confident that they could beat the Monolith sect in terms of strength. Most of them, their strength was on par with each other. In less than half a day, such a large sect had been annihilated. Apart from feeling sympathy for the loss of the two sects, everyone also felt that they were in danger. Very soon, these sects secretly investigated the whereabouts of Yuan's sect, wanting to see if he had returned. However, they received news that Yuan's sect had only sent a group of people to bring back the seized resources. The rest of them had crossed the Northern Heavens True Dominion and headed for the Fenghai True Dominion. This piece of news caused another perilous situation. What is Yuan's sect trying to do? Could it be that he wants to destroy the Listening Ocean sect as well? In the Listening Ocean sect, Yu Jianghai instantly became restless after receiving news of Yuan's sect's movements. The destruction of the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect especially gave him a huge pressure. Yu Jianghai did not forget. Other than the people from the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect, Yu Jianghai was also one of the people who had taken action. Originally, he thought that he would apologize to Qin Shujian. Then, this matter would be considered over. However, looking at Yuan's sect's posture, he was clearly the kind of person who would seek revenge for every grievance. Since the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect had been destroyed, the next one would probably be his Listening Ocean sect. After all, the Fenghai True Dominion was close to the Northern Heavens True Dominion. At the moment, in the Listening Ocean sect, not only was Yu Jianghai slightly flustered, but even the group of elders who had received the news were panicking. They did not know about the conflict between Yu Jianghai and Qin Shujian. However, Yuan's sect had first gone to the Northern Heavens True Dominion to destroy the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect. Now, he had brought people directly to the Fenghai True Dominion. No one could be sure that he was not coming for the Listening Ocean sect. If he was really coming for them, then the Listening Ocean sect would probably follow in the footsteps of the two sections. Sect Master, what should we do now? Should we send someone to find out what Yuan's sect's intentions are? In the Great Hall of the sect, the Great Elder of the Listening Ocean sect, Ding Zhongyuan, could not maintain his composure. There was an unconcealable panic on his old face. Yu Jianghai took a deep breath and shook his head. According to my estimation, the Dimension sect's target is most likely my Listening Ocean sect. During the trip to the Beichuan Great Dominion, Qin Shujian and I had some conflicts. The people of the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect also had some conflicts with him. Now that the two sects have been destroyed, with his vengeful character, I'm afraid that my Listening Ocean sect will not be able to escape. Hearing this, the expressions of the others in the Great Hall of the sect changed abruptly. If they were not sure of Yuan's sect's target earlier, then Yu Jianghai's words had confirmed their speculation. At this moment, their hearts sank to the bottom of the valley. Then what should we do? An elder's voice was trembling as he spoke. In the end, he looked at Yu Jianghai and said, "Why don't Sect Master apologize to Yuan's sect? Maybe he will let us off." Haha. Yu Jianghai smiled insincerely as he shook his head and sneered. If apologizing was useful, how would the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect end up being destroyed? Do you think that the deterrence of more than 1,000 inner energy realm cultivators is not enough to make the two sects bow their heads? These words, once again, it made the hearts of the Listening Ocean sect's elders sink as their faces turned pale. That's right. If they could think of giving in, the other two sects would definitely not fight Yuan's sect head-on. But in reality, the two sects were still destroyed. This also proved that Yuan sect's determination was firm and could not be easily shaken. The only way now is to join forces with the other sects to resist Yuan sect together. Otherwise, if Yuan sect is defeated one by one, no one will benefit. After Yu Jianghai recovered from his shock, he immediately made a decision. Yuan sect was strong. But because he was too strong and his methods were so ruthless, it would definitely cause the other sects to be wary. After all, no one could be sure if they had offended Yuan sect. If one day they were to arrive at the city gates, then only death would await them. Therefore, he was confident that he could persuade the experts of the other sects to join forces to resist Yuan sect. Especially after the two sects were destroyed, Yu Jianghai was not afraid that the other sects would not be afraid. Hearing this, Ding Zhongyuan nodded and said, "That's right. Yuan sect is now powerful and ruthless. We can join forces with the other sects to eradicate them in one fell swoop. This matter should not be delayed. Elders, please head to the other sects to lobby them." All right. Instantly, the entire Listening Ocean sect was moved. Northern Heaven's true domain was close to Fenghai true domain. Although Listening Ocean sect was on the other side of Fenghai true domain, it would only take 2 to 3 days to travel from Coiling Stone sect to Listening Ocean sect. Therefore, Yu Jianghai and the others had to rope in enough experts to fight against Yuan sect within 2 to 3 days. This kind of matter was imminent, and no one dared to delay for even half a second. As for the players of Listening Ocean sect, after seeing the second phase of the mission of Yuan sect's players on the forum, they all fell into silence. They did not know what Yu Jianghai and the others were planning. They only knew that the big boss, Liang Mountain Fort Master, was about to arrive. Run, or not run. This was a problem. However, after a brief moment of hesitation, the players of Listening Ocean sect reached a common idea. Run. They had to run. Listening Ocean sect did not let them see any hope of victory. Or rather, it was not a matter of victory or not, but they did not see any hope of survival. In the eyes of the players, the destruction of Listening Ocean sect was already settled. Whether to stay and be buried with them or to withdraw in advance, as long as they were not stubborn, they knew which one to choose. Immediately, after Cloud Mist sect and Coiling Stone sect, a large number of disciples of Listening Ocean sect defected. Chapter 179. Sect Master. Someone from the Listening Sea sect is asking for an audience at the foot of the mountain. Let him in, Fu Qinghong said faintly in the sect hall. Immediately, the deacon in front of him turned and left. Subsequently, an elder of the Qingqing sect said, "Sect Master, the people from the Listening Sea sect have never been in contact with us. Now that they suddenly sent someone here, I'm afraid their intentions are not simple." Of course I know. Fu Qinghong smiled faintly. Although the two sects were both in the Fenghai True Dominion, their relationship was not very good. There were even quite a few disputes over some resources. Now that Yu Jianghai had sent someone here, he would not believe it at all unless he had a request. Combined with the news he had just received, Fu Qinghong roughly understood the purpose of the Listening Sea sect's visit. Soon, under the guidance of an elder with a peaceful face, he stepped into the Qingqing sect hall. He looked at Fu Qinghong and cupped his hands. "I'm Ding Zhongyuan. Greetings to Sect Master Fu. Haha, so great Elder Ding of the Listening Sea sect is here. Come, give him a seat." "Thank you." Ding Zhongyuan sat down and immediately said, "I'm sure the Qingqing sect has heard the news that the Yuan sect destroyed the Yunwu and Monolith sects in one fell swoop and headed straight for the Fenghai True Dominion. I've heard a little about it. Could it be that Elder Ding is here for the Yuan sect?" "Yes." Ding Zhongyuan did not deny it and directly cut to the chase. The Yuan sect mobilized the entire sect, a total of more than 1,000 inner energy realm cultivators. After destroying the two sects, they headed straight for the Fenghai True Dominion. Their intentions are definitely not simple. The Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect were completely annihilated in less than 2 hours after encountering the Origin sect. Their foundation of thousands of years was reduced to nothing. I'm afraid that the sects in the Fenghai True Dominion will follow in their footsteps. The Listening Sea sect's words are a bit exaggerated. A Qingqing sect elder sneered. It's said that the Yunwu and Monolith sects were destroyed by the Yuan sect because they offended Qin Shujian. Our Qingcheng sect has never had anything to do with it, so how could we be in danger of being destroyed? Ding Zhongyuan's expression didn't change as he said, the experts of the True Dominion sect usually have 10 to 20 inner energy realm cultivators. The weaker ones only have a few inner energy realm cultivators. According to my understanding, the Green City sect only had 23 inner energy realm cultivators and 7 outer energy realm cultivators at its peak. What do you mean? Based on what I know, the Green City sect only has 12 to 13 inner energy cultivators and less than 5 outer energy cultivators. This kind of strength can be ranked among the top sects in the North Cloud Manor. Ding Zhongyuan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he muttered to himself. As for Fu Qinghong, who was sitting in the main seat, his expression did not change as his gaze landed on the other party. The number of outer invulnerability adepts in the Yuan sect will not stop for the time being. As for inner invulnerability adepts, there are no less than 1,500 of them. The number of experts in the Yuan sect has already surpassed the Azure Cloud sect by 100 times. In other words, if Yuan Zong wanted to make a move against the House of Qing, all he needed to do was to move his finger and crush it. If Sect Master Fu wanted to crush an ant on the spur of the moment, would he consider so many factors? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you insult our sect? Instantly, the elders of the Green City sect in the hall flew into a rage as they pointed at Ding Zhongyuan and scolded him. Even Fu Qinghong looked at the other party with a somewhat cold gaze. Ding Zhongyuan's expression didn't change. He cupped his hands and said, "This old man didn't mean to insult the Qingcheng sect. I'm just stating a fact. Whether it's my listening C sect, the Qingcheng sect, or any other sect. In front of Yuan Zong, we are all vulnerable. As long as Qin Shujian wants to, he can annihilate all of us. I believe that I don't need to explain in detail what more than 1,000 inner energy cultivators represent. Everyone should understand. Now that Yuan Zong is rushing toward the true dominion of the Fenghai Sea, his wild ambitions are obvious. The listening Sea sect intends to join forces with the other sects to resist Yuan Zong when he enters the true dominion of the Fenghai Sea. At the end of his speech, Ding Zhongyuan finally revealed his true intentions. Fu Qinghong sneered and said, "Even if I agree, do you think that the Green City sect and the Listening Sea sect can resist Yuan Zong? The Green City sect is just one of the sections. Our sect has already sent people to contact the Fengshan True Dominion of the Fengshan True Dominion, the Yanhua sect, the Mountain Shifting sect, and other sections. With our 5 sects joining forces, we may be able to resist Yuan Zong." Ding Zhongyuan paused and continued, "Moreover, as long as we kill Qin Shujian, the other people in Yuan Zong will definitely be discouraged. At that time, even if there are 1,500 inner energy cultivators, we still have a chance of winning. The Green City sect needs to consider this matter. Elder Ding, please do as you wish. Yuan Zong will be here soon. I hope that sect leader Fu can make a decision soon. I will take my leave first." Ding Zhongyuan got up and left. Soon, only the people of the Green City sect were left in the hall. "Sect leader, the Listening Sea sect is clearly dragging us down with them. How can we let them succeed?" A Green City sect elder said indignantly. Ding Zhongyuan's words had already made him unhappy. Now that Ding Zhongyuan had left, he no longer had any qualms about speaking. Fu Qinghong's expression was somewhat gloomy as he said, "Although that is the case, Ding Zhongyuan's words are not without reason. Yuan Zong is very powerful now. It will be very difficult for our sects to stay out of this. Yuan Zong was too powerful. He was so powerful that the true dominion could no longer contain him. Given the current power of Yuan Zong, if they were allowed to continue developing, the 1,500 inner energy cultivators would become more than 1,500 outer energy cultivators in a few years. Even if all the outer energy cultivators in the true dominion of the Baiyun Mansion were added together, they would only have this number. The strength of a sect would have the ability to contend with the entire Baiyun Mansion's true dominion. It had to be said, this was a very frightening matter. If Yuan Zong had not reached into the Fenghai true dominion, Fu Qinghong would not have thought so much. After all, in the face of such a powerful sect, even if they joined forces to deal with it, The price they would have to pay was not something any sect could bear. Therefore, they could not go to war. Fu Qinghong really did not want to go to war. However, now that Yuan Zhong had come in full force, he was not sure whether they would take the opportunity to attack the Green City sect. Rather than resign themselves to fate and let things not be in their control, Fu Qinghong hoped that they could take the initiative. Just as Ding Zhongyuan was heading to the Green City sect, just as he had said, the other members of the Listening Sea sect were also heading to the other sects to lobby them. This time, Yuan Zhong's power was like thunder, intimidating the surrounding True Dominion. Therefore, this time, the lobbying of the Listening Sea sect was unusually effective. One day later, the experts of Yuan Zhong officially stepped into the Fenghai True Dominion and headed straight for the Listening Sea sect. Along the way, in the face of so many experts, all the sects and forces retreated, not daring to face them head-on. There are so many inner energy cultivators. This kind of strength is really something that the True Dominion sects can possess. A spirit martial realm cultivator gasped silently when he saw this scene. If he had been in the spirit dominion, he would not have been afraid in the face of so many inner energy cultivators. He would not be able to defeat them. It would not have been a problem for him to escape. However, in the True Dominion, regardless of whether one was a spirit martial realm or a divine martial realm cultivator, they were only at the peak true martial realm. If they were besieged by so many inner energy cultivators, they would only end up nursing a grievance. The True Dominion was not isolated from the Spirit Dominion. There were also many spirit martial realm cultivators active in the True Dominion. However, all the spirit martial realm cultivators who saw the Yuan Zhong army retreated silently. Sect Master, the Listening Sea sect might not sit still and wait for death. Should we be more cautious? Zheng Hong asked in a low voice as everyone moved forward. He had once been the leader of a force. He also knew a little about the matter of forming alliances and joining forces. Now that the Yuan Zhong was powerful and had the battle record of destroying two sects, the Listening Sea sect would not sit still and wait for death. Qin Shujian said calmly, no matter what preparations the Listening Sea sect has, it will not be able to prevent its destruction. If the other sects are sensible, they will be safe and sound. If they are not willing to be left out, they will end up like the Listening Sea sect. Zheng Hong knew about his concerns. However, to Qin Shujian, the other party's concerns should not be considered concerns. Given the Yuan Zhong's current strength, it would not matter even if all the sects in the Fenghai True Dominion were tied together, let alone the Listening Sea sect. In the end, they would only end up defeated. This was Qin Shujian's confidence in himself, as well as his confidence in the entire Yuan sect. The current him, he was no longer the ignorant bandit leader he had been in the past. A fourth-grade force was not invincible in the True Dominion, but it was not far from it. Most of the other sects were only first-grade forces. It was rare to see a second-grade force, let alone a third-grade or fourth-grade one, although a low-grade force would not be strong enough. According to the standards of a fourth-grade force, no sect in the True Dominion would be able to contend with it, unless they were both fourth-grade sections. However, according to Qin Shujian's understanding, there was no other fourth-grade force in the North Cloud Mansion's True Dominion other than the Yuan Zhong. At the Listening Sea sect, after receiving Yu Jianghai's request for help and lobbying, the various large sects did not dare sit back and do nothing. They all sent experts over. I will remember everyone's help today. I will definitely repay you after this. Yu Jianghai felt more at ease as he looked at the experts of the various sects in front of him. Together with the original experts of the Listening Sea sect, there were more than 20 outer invulnerability realm experts, and more than 60 to 70 inner invulnerability realm cultivators gathered there. Although there was still a huge difference in the number of experts compared to the Yuan Zhong, it was not as if they did not have the ability to fight back. Fu Qinghong said indifferently, we didn't come here to start a war with the Origin sect this time. We're here for peace. If the Seaview sect wants us to fight to the death with the Origin sect, then you've miscalculated. Don't worry, Sect Master Fu. I don't want to fall out with the Yuan Zhong either. It would be best if we could resolve this peacefully, Yu Jianghai said with a smile. It was no secret that the Yuan Zhong's target was the Listening Sea sect this time. The various sects had not come purely because of the Listening Sea sect. They had come because the Yuan Zong's aura was so strong that the other sects felt threatened. Chapter 180. Where are the people of Yuan's sect now? Experts from other sects asked. Yu Jianghai shook his head and said, Yuan's sect has already entered the Fenghai True Domain and will be here soon. As he spoke, his expression suddenly changed. They're here. 2 simple words, but everyone understood the meaning behind his words. Immediately, everyone's expression was solemn. Yu Jianghai got up and said, Everyone, follow me and meet the master of Yuan's sect. After speaking, he took the lead and walked outside. Just now, the heavenly way gave a warning. It made Yu Jianghai understand that Yuan's sect had officially stepped into the territory of Listen to See sect. It was just as he had guessed. Qin Shujian was really heading straight for Listen to See sect. As for the reason, Yu Jianghai was basically sure that it was because of the fight for the Khanate spiritual object, just as Yu Jianghai and the others were about to move. The experts of Yuan's sect had almost arrived at the mountain gate of Listen to See sect. Sect Master Zhang Hong wanted to say something but was stopped by Qin Shujian with a wave of his hand. In his perception, hundreds of powerful auras were rapidly approaching. However, Qin Shujian's expression did not change as he smiled and said, It seems that there are really sects that are unwilling to be left out and want to join in the fun. Although there was a smile on his face, his eyes were full of coldness. Soon, a group of experts had already approached. When they saw that there were over 1,000 inner energy stage cultivators lined up in a row, the powerful aura that gathered together caused everyone's expression to change. As for the players of Yuan's sect, they were completely ignored. There were many people. However, in such an occasion, they were just small fries. What really made people's hearts heavy was the number of inner energy realm cultivators. And the master of Yuan's sect, Qin Shujian. Yu Jianghai's expression was shocked at first, but he quickly recovered and cupped his hands with a smile. Sect Master Qin, for you to come to my Listen to See sect, what is the matter? To collect a debt? Listen to See sect doesn't remember when we owed your sect anything. Qin Shujian looked at the many experts in front of him and finally fixed his gaze on Jianghai. He said, You know very well what kind of debt I'm asking for. Since you want to snatch my Yuan sect's innate spiritual object, you should have been mentally prepared for this. Sect Master Qin, innate spiritual objects are birthed by the heavens and earth and don't belong to anyone. It's reasonable for you to fight over the birth of a treasure. I've already apologized to you afterwards, so why are you still being so overbearing? Yu Jianghai's face was filled with anger as he bellowed. If it was in the past, he wouldn't have dared to speak so boldly. However, now that there were experts from several sects behind him, even if Yuan Zong was powerful, he did not feel much fear. If I don't vent my anger, I won't feel good. Qin Shujian's words caused everyone's expression to freeze. It was very simple. It was also very straightforward. The other party didn't beat around the bush at all. He directly told them that he was here to vent his anger. Even Yu Jianghai, who had prepared a lot of words, almost choked. After a while, Yu Jianghai said in a low voice, I've already apologized. What else does Sect Master Qin want? If the Listening Ocean sect surrenders today, we'll pretend that nothing happened. If you resist stubbornly, the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect will end up like you, Qin Shujian said indifferently. Boom. His words caused the expressions of the others to change. Yu Jianghai said angrily, I'm sincerely apologizing, yet you are being so overbearing. It seems like Sect Master Qin is not simply here for the Listening Ocean sect. Don't tell me you want to use this opportunity to wipe out all the true Dominion sects and make the Yuan sect the only supreme sect? These words, they had already forced Qin Shujian into an embarrassing situation. In everyone's opinion, the other party would either admit defeat or admit that he was the enemy of all the true Dominion sects. No matter which option it was, it wouldn't be a good thing for the Yuan sect. Today's matter is between the Yuan sect and the Listening Ocean sect. Do the other sects also want to participate? Qin Shujian didn't answer. Instead, he asked Fu Qinghong and the others. Everyone's identity couldn't be hidden in the spirit eye. Fu Qinghong said, Sect Master Qin, Sect Master, you shouldn't have snatched the Khanate spiritual object. However, this matter should be discussed carefully. I believe that it wouldn't be a good thing for both sides if a war broke out directly. That's right. If Sect Master Qin sincerely wants compensation, just say the word. However, if you want the Listening Ocean sect to surrender, that would be too much. The experts of the other sects also tried to persuade him. It was impossible for them to sit back and watch the Listening Ocean sect get annihilated. However, they didn't want to start a war with the Yuan sect either. At least not now. They could only attack the Yuan sect after this matter was over, and they gathered more sections. They believed that the strength that the Yuan sect had exposed this time had already made many sects wary. If there was a chance, the other sects might also want to eliminate such a threat. However, no matter what, it wasn't realistic for the 5 sects to join forces and destroy the Yuan sect. If things went wrong, both sides would suffer losses. No one was willing to bear such a loss. It seems that all of you have the same idea. Qin Shujian looked around at the crowd and his gaze finally landed on Yu Jianghai, who was smiling. He said softly, "Slash." As soon as he finished speaking, the saber struck. A terrifying power instantly erupted. It was like a thunderbolt that could destroy everything. The crisp sound of the saber made everyone's expression change drastically. At that moment, Yu Jianghai seemed to feel a fatal threat. Without thinking, he retreated. His Gangqi suddenly erupted, and a powerful Gangqi shield condensed in front of him. However, it was just a single blow. The Gangqi shattered with a sound. Looking at the cold light that filled his line of sight, he immediately took out a dark green shield and blocked in front of him. Bang! The shield suddenly shattered and turned into fragments that flew all over the sky. Yu Jianghai was hit by the terrifying power, and his body flew out directly. He coughed up blood continuously. However, the injuries on his body couldn't be compared to the shock in his heart. The shield that he had just taken out was the heirloom treasure of the heirloom sect. Its power was comparable to a middle-grade spiritual weapon, and its defense was unparalleled. Even an upper-grade spiritual weapon could hardly damage it. This was also one of the reasons why Yu Jianghai was still calm after knowing that Qin Shujian had a half-step doctrine artifact. However, the other party had only used one saber strike to shatter the shield that could withstand the attack of an upper-grade spiritual weapon. What was broken was not only the heirloom treasure, but also Yu Jianghai's confidence. When he saw the saber flying across the sky and the thunderbolt Dao seal suppressing everything, he finally coughed up a big mouthful of blood after landing on the ground. His face was full of disbelief. Doctrine artifact? How could it be a doctrine artifact? It was clearly a half-step doctrine artifact. How could it become a complete doctrine artifact? No matter how Yu Jianghai thought about it, he didn't expect such a change. At that moment, as Qin Shujian attacked, the experts of the Yuan sect didn't need to be ordered and had already attacked the experts of the other sections. In an instant, the surging true essence was like the waves of the sea, about to drown everyone. Due to the strong pressure, the experts of the various sects didn't dare hold back. They all used their strongest strength to resist the attacks of the Yuan sect. Doctrine artifact. The faces of the various sect masters were as black as ink as they looked at the 1,000 mountain blood above their heads. They hadn't expected that the True Dominion sect would have a doctrine artifact. One had to know. A complete doctrine artifact was more terrifying than more than 1,000 inner energy cultivators in certain situations. Fu Qinghong immediately shouted in fear, "Sect Master Qin, the Green City sect has no intention of participating in the feud between your sect and the Heirloom sect. Please let us leave. I can guarantee that I won't interfere." He was afraid. He was really afraid. Given the strength of the Yuan sect and the addition of a complete doctrine artifact, anyone who came would die. Unless they had a doctrine artifact of the same level, they wouldn't be able to fight. The sects of the True Dominion that possessed a middle-grade connate spirit artifact to suppress the light from Providence was already considered a large sect. Only a few of them possessed a upper-grade spirit artifact. As for the doctrine artifact, it was considered a priceless treasure even in the Spirit Protectorate or even the sects of a higher level, let alone the True Dominion sect. When they saw the 1,000 mountain blood, Fu Qinghong wasn't the only one who was afraid. Even the sect masters of the other sects were afraid. In order to intimidate the Yuan sect this time, all the experts of the various sects had come out. Even the sect masters were present. Now, these sect masters felt very regretful. The actions of the heirloom sect had caused them to suffer miserably. Qin Shujian turned a blind eye to the begging of Fu Qinghong and the others. The thunder Dao seal on the saber suppressed everything. He took a step into the air, grabbed the saber, and slashed it down. Wisdom Monarch Prison, shattering saber. In an instant, vengeful spirits and malicious ghosts wailed. The surroundings seemed to have turned into a ghastly hell. However, there was also thunder in the sky, and an extreme yang force erupted. The two forces, yin and yang, merged into a terrifying saber move. In the face of this saber move, everyone, including the peak true martial realm cultivators and the other cultivators, felt that they were going to die. Fu Qinghong and the others no longer cared about hiding anything. The sect guarding spirit weapons of their respective sects appeared in their hands. Then, they activated their quintessential essence and erupted with a powerful force that collided with this saber move. Rumble. A terrifying wind swept in all directions. As the saber aura shattered, the spirit weapons in Fu Qinghong and the others' hands dimmed. Some of them even showed signs of cracking. On the other hand, the Thousand Mountain Blood's crystalline saber body was surrounded by thunder. It was as terrifying as a saber that could destroy the world. Sect Master Qin. Kill? Qin Shujian ignored Fu Qinghong and the others' words of retreat and released the control of the Thousand Mountain Blood, allowing this Dao artifact to kill. Then, he formed a seal with both hands. A vast amount of quintessential essence gathered and transformed it into an illusion of a huge mountain that suppressed down. Middle-grade divine-level martial technique. Great desolate devil suppressing seal. At the moment, Fu Qinghong and the others didn't feel like they were facing a peak true martial realm cultivator. They felt like they were facing an expert above the true martial realm. This move of the mountain-moving seal made them feel extremely threatened. Their Gangqi exploded and collided with the mountain. Qin Shujian was obviously going to kill them all. Fu Qinghong and the others no longer harbored any hope. If they couldn't defeat him, they would die. In the face of life and death, everyone unleashed their full strength. Boom! Qin Shujian's robe puffed up. The quintessential essence in his dantian evaporated. Another move of the mountain-moving seal came crashing down. The shockwave almost caused their Gangqi to dissipate. Then, he glanced at his source of life, which had reached nearly 100,000, and chose to upgrade his Origin Ocean technique by 1 level. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth surged in. The quintessential essence in his dantian was instantly replenished. Then, another move of the mountain-moving seal came crashing down. The quintessential essence in his dantian dried up again. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. The source of life receded like a tide, but the quintessential essence in Qin Shujian's dantian remained in a nearly full state. The mid-grade divine level Great Demon Suppression Seal in his hands didn't seem to consume any quintessential essence. For a moment, its power was earth-shattering. Fu Qinghong and the other physical invulnerability, mighty ones coughed up blood and retreated. Chapter 181. Although it wasn't as intelligent as a normal person, it was connected to Qin Shujian's mind. It followed his instructions and shuttled back and forth in the crowd. The Thunder Taoist seal appeared. It was as powerful as the heavens, intimidating everyone, both the internal and physical invulnerability adepts. They couldn't resist a doctrine artifact at all. And this was only an autonomous attack from a doctrine artifact. If its owner controlled it, its power would increase exponentially. Boom! The illusory sea surged over. Although it did not have any substance, its power was enough to topple the sky. Coupled with Qin Shujian's powerful true origin, which far exceeded the true martial realm, this attack directly surpassed the limits of the true martial realm. Poof! Poof! Fu Qinghong and the others spat out blood as their protective auras collapsed. They were heavily injured. Although they had spiritual weapons, most of their power had been destroyed by the doctrine artifact. They had no power to fight back against Qin Shujian, who repeatedly used ultimate moves. One had to know, Using spiritual weapons consumed a large amount of true origin. Not everyone could be like Qin Shujian, who could directly use his life source as a means to restore his Zhen Yuan. Buzz. After the seal of the tumbling ocean had severely injured everyone, Qin Shujian used up all of his remaining life force. A surge of vital energy filled his dantian. Then, he formed a seal with both hands. A desolate and ancient aura that seemed to suppress everything filled the air. An illusory figure with an indistinct face appeared. Instantly, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth became chaotic. Suppress. Demon. Seal. Qin Shujian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He formed a seal and instantly emptied his dantian of true origin. Rumble. After the seal was formed, the illusory figure slammed its palm down. At this moment, it seemed to suppress the heavens and the earth. Everyone under this palm couldn't move. The air split and rolled to both sides like waves. Fu Qinghong and the others tried to open their eyes. However, the true origin in their dantian seemed to be imprisoned. They couldn't use a single bit. They could only watch as the palm fell. The ground trembled. Fu Qinghong and the others couldn't even resist before they were crushed by this power. After doing all this, Qin Shujian, on the other hand, closed his eyes and stood still on the ground. The light of the thousand mountains' blood blade flowed, beheading the last inner aura cultivator before landing in front of him. Lightning still lingered on the blade, causing everyone to shrink back in fear. Song Hong immediately ordered, "Everyone, collect the spoils of war immediately." Hearing this, regardless of whether it was the players or the others, they immediately reacted and began to search the corpse. This battle came quickly and ended quickly as well. The whole process took less than half an hour. All the experts from the sects who had come to reinforce them had been completely annihilated. Under the situation where the top experts were pinned down by Qin Shujian and Qian Shanxue, the remaining experts were powerless against Zhang Hong and the other experts. It could be said that, if it weren't for a few people who were careless and suffered some injuries, this battle could be said to be virtually unscathed. This was a one-sided battle. After a long time, Qin Shujian opened his eyes. His dry dantian had been replenished by some true essence. He sheathed Qian Shanxue and then asked, "Have the spiritual weapons of the various sects been collected?" "Sect Master, it's all here, as well as the cultivation methods and martial arts they carried." Song Hong ordered people to bring the items and said in a deep voice. Qin Shujian first put all the spiritual weapons, whether they were incomplete or not, into the storage ring. These spiritual weapons, even the most precious treasures of the various sects, were innate spiritual objects. As for the cultivation methods and martial arts, as well as the other spoils of war, Qin Shujian didn't even look at them and put them all away. Did we suffer any damage? Other than a few disciples who suffered some minor injuries, there were no other losses. Qin Shujian nodded and looked around the battlefield. He found that all the people who fell on the ground were from the other sections. Even the players whose realms weren't high didn't seem to be in a sorry state. After all, they were fighting a favorable battle. It could be said that the players were the best at taking the kill without doing anything. For elders, each of you will lead 300 inner energy disciples to Qingqing, Fenglei, Yanhua, and Moving Mountain. Kill all those above the true martial realm. Those below the true martial realm who are willing to surrender can be brought back. As for all the resources stored in the sects, take them all. Qin Shujian's eyes were cold and murderous. Using his spiritual eye, he found that a few of the sects that had interfered this time had all escaped his eyes. Since they dared to get involved in this mess, they had to think about the consequences. He had already been very kind by not giving the order to exterminate the entire sect. After that, Qin Shujian gave the players another mission, asking them to follow the other elders to destroy the sections. "We obey." Song Hong and the others cupped their hands and accepted the order. After that, the group of Yuan sect experts dispersed and left. Following them were all the player disciples. To this, Qin Shujian was not worried that anything would happen to Song Hong and the others. Not to mention that even after dispersing, each of them still brought along 300 inner energy disciples. Just the fact that most of the experts of these sects had fallen here and even lost their sect-guarding spiritual weapons meant that their overall strength had dropped by 70 to 80%. If they could not resist at their peak, now that they had dropped by so much, it was even more impossible to resist. After Tang Hong and the others left, Qin Shujian brought the remaining people and headed directly to listen to the Sea sect. Not long after Qin Shujian and the others left, the corpses of Yu Jianghai and the others had already automatically disappeared. After that, many people walked out from the shadows. Looking at the huge palm print on the ground and the traces of battle, a thought surged in their minds. Heavens! It was about to change. The matter of the 5 great sects joining hands was not a secret. All the powers were paying attention to this confrontation. Regardless of whether Yuan's sect chose to fight to the death with the 5 great sects or choose to retreat, all the powers had already made the corresponding preparations and arrangements. But no one had ever thought that they could wipe out the 5 great sects without suffering any losses. Thinking of the terrifying Tao artifact in their hearts, these people's hearts trembled and they immediately returned to report. And at this time, Qin Shujian had also destroyed the last resistance of Listen to the Sea sect. Yu Jianghai was dead, and the sect-guarding spiritual weapon was already broken. Adding to that the several outer energy disciples and inner energy disciples who had died at Yuan's sect's hands at the beginning, Listen to the Sea sect only had one inner energy disciple left to hold the fort. When Qin Shujian arrived, the other party did not even have the chance to speak before he was slapped to death. As for the personal disciples, and even the true disciples, he did not show any mercy. Since these people were able to be heavily nurtured by Listen to the Sea sect, they were most likely loyal and devoted to the sect. Even if there were a few traitors, Qin Shujian did not have the time to slowly examine them one by one. First, he used iron and blood means. He wiped out all the power of Listen to the Sea sect. Then, he rounded up the remaining inner and outer disciples who were willing to surrender. Those who were unwilling to surrender also followed Yu Jianghai and the others to the Yellow Springs. After seizing Listen to the Sea sect's treasury, his storage ring was stuffed full again. Vaguely, Qin Shujian seemed to have heard a voice telling him to stop stuffing it. However, he only thought that he had misheard and did not pay too much attention to it. At this time, at the destroyed mountain gate of Listen to the Sea sect, a group of surviving disciples of Listen to the Sea sect stood there trembling. I'll give you a chance. If you are willing to work for Yuan's sect, you will also have the opportunity to obtain the true teachings of cultivation techniques and martial arts in the future. You only have 3 breaths of time to make your choice. We are willing. Everyone answered in fear. Those who were unwilling were already dead. Those who were still alive now were those who had bowed their heads to the situation. As the crowd finished speaking, their loyalty also appeared in Qin Shujian's eyes. When he looked through them one by one, he also found a few people whose loyalty was negative and killed them directly. Then, he turned around and went down the mountain. Very soon, the news of the annihilation of the 5 major sects spread like a gust of wind to all the true dominions around the Fenghai True Dominion. It also seemed to be spreading to the entire Baiyun Prefecture. Within a day, the 5 major sects had been annihilated. The mountain gate had been destroyed and all resistance had been exterminated. All the powers who had received the news were shocked. They had a clear understanding of Qin Shujian's ruthlessness and Yuan's sect's strength. They were even more shocked and speechless when they found out that Yuan's sect had a Tao weapon. However, the sects near the Fenghai True Dominion were not in the most awkward position. Instead, it was the 3 True Dominions, which were close to the Liangshan True Dominion. Yuan's sect's strength had suddenly soared. They had even annihilated 7 sects in one fell swoop. Among the 7 sects that had been annihilated, there were a few old sects that were not weaker than the Blue Cloud sect. They had once had a protectorate lord. Even so, they had been annihilated just like that. Everyone knew that. Given Yuan's sect's current strength, it was impossible for him to settle down in a corner. A newly ascended True Dominion could not satisfy Yuan's sect's appetite, nor could it accommodate so many experts. The biggest possibility was that Yuan's sect was expanding outwards. The 3 True Dominion were close to the Liangshan True Dominion. If Yuan's sect were to expand, the sects of the 3 True Dominion would definitely bear the brunt. Currently, The sects of the three true dominion were in a terrible fix. They were pondering whether they should fight or surrender if Yuan's sect's troops arrived at their city gates. Both the old sects, such as the Blue Cloud sect, were newly ascended. They were similar to the Golden Sun sect, which was a newly ascended sect. They did not have the slightest bit of confidence to contend against Yuan's sect, even if they joined forces. They had more than 1,500 inner energy cultivators and a Dao weapon. Their sect master was a terrifying expert who had defeated dozens of outer energy cultivators single-handedly. With these three factors combined, all the sects would feel powerless in the face of such a power. This was what the other sects of the True Dominion were thinking. Yuan's sect did not pay much attention to them. First, he had annihilated the Cloud Mist sect and the Monolith sect. Then, he had annihilated the 5 major sects, including the Listening Ocean sect. After the annihilation of 7 sects, the resources that Yuan's sect had seized had reached an unprecedented peak. Apart from that, he had also brought back close to 6,000 prisoners of war. Yuan's sect was currently doing his best to deal with these matters and take inventory of the spoils of this battle. He did not have the spare energy to care about anything else for the time being. Chapter 182. You have found an incomplete treasure of luck that can be converted into a certain amount of luck points. Do you want to convert it? When he came out of the broken shield of the Listen See sect, the system prompt appeared in Qin Shujian's mind. An incomplete treasure of providence can be converted into luck points. These two pieces of news caused his pupils to constrict. Originally, Qin Shujian thought that luck points could only be obtained by killing evil spirits. He never thought that snatching the treasures of other sects could also give him the corresponding luck points. Soon, he thought about it for a moment and understood. It should be that these things carry the luck of a sect, so they are still somewhat different from innate spiritual objects. Otherwise, when I obtained the Calamity Punishment Spear, there was no prompt to convert it into luck. Of course, it could also be that the Calamity Punishment Spear is different from ordinary innate spiritual objects and can't suppress and carry luck at all. Qin Shujian thought of the scene when the Calamity Punishment Spear was born. Thunder descended from heaven and earth, wanting to destroy it. Instead of being an innate spiritual object that carried the luck of heaven and earth, it would be better to say that it was a pure killing treasure. It was as if it had sensed an unknown danger. The broken shield trembled slightly. As a spiritual weapon, even if it had been broken, the remaining spirituality in it would not dissipate so quickly. Convert. Qin Shujian ignored the fear of the shield in his hand and directly muttered. Immediately, he saw the broken shield disintegrate, and at the same time, the system prompt appeared in his mind. You have obtained 0.5 luck points. Looking at the extra 0.5 luck on his attribute panel, Yizichen looked at the additional 0.5 luck points. Qin Shujian revealed a smile on his face. 0.5 luck points did not seem much, but killing an evil spirit only gave 10 luck points. Most importantly, it was much easier to destroy a sect than to kill an evil spirit. Subsequently, he took out other broken spiritual weapons. Looking at the pile of broken spiritual weapons in front of him, there was still a thought that did not dissipate. Qin Shujian did not hesitate. Grabbing a spiritual weapon, the corresponding prompt appeared in his mind. You have obtained 0.5 luck points. You have obtained 0.2 luck points. You have obtained 0.3 luck points. You have obtained 0.8 luck points. You have received 1 luck point. Very soon, the shattered spiritual artifact was basically completely absorbed. What replaced it was an increase of more than 12 luck points, almost 13 luck points. Such a number. It had already exceeded the amount given to him by a single demon. Shortly after, Qin Shujian's hand flashed again, and 2 broken arrows and a big bow appeared there. Cosmos bow, cloud-piercing arrow. You almost suffocated me to death. The instant it appeared, an aged voice came from the Cosmos bow. But very soon, the old voice was filled with fear. What the hell did you do to those sect-guarding spirit artifacts? Just a moment ago, It had sensed many spiritual weapons being taken out, but now it could not sense the aura of these spiritual weapons at all. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. One had to know, as one of the connate spirit objects, if they were too close, they would be able to sense each other. But now, the Cosmos Bow couldn't sense anything at all. In such a situation, either the spiritual artifact had already left, or it had completely disappeared. Compared to the former, the Cosmos Bow was more inclined to the latter. Don't kill me, don't kill me, I'm willing to submit to you. Please don't kill me. At this moment, the Cosmos Bow was really scared and directly begged for mercy. Hearing this, Qin Shujian's hand movements paused. He looked at the Cosmos Bow with a playful gaze. He had just transformed so many spiritual artifacts, but he didn't see any of them begging for mercy. Perhaps it was because their spirituality was not as high as the Cosmos Bow. But there was one thing to say. It was the first time he had seen a spiritual artifact with such a high level of spirituality like the Cosmos Bow. If I don't kill you, what can I gain? I am a connate spirit object, and my power is comparable to a mid-grade spiritual artifact. If I can wait for the cloud-piercing arrow to be repaired, the two of them together will not be weaker than a high-grade spiritual artifact. And as long as I am given 1,000 years to absorb enough spirit chi of heaven and earth, I will be able to transform into a high-grade spiritual artifact. At that time, with the cloud-piercing arrow, I will not be at a disadvantage even when facing a half-step Tao artifact. The Cosmos Bow hurriedly stated its value. Hearing this, Qin Shujian's face immediately darkened. A high-grade spiritual artifact after 1,000 years? He felt that he had been fooled. Holding the Cosmos Bow in his hand, he was about to transform the other party. The threat of death surged in his heart, and the Cosmos Bow desperately shouted, F***CK, I am already willing to submit. Why do you still want to kill me? What's the use of keeping a piece of trash that can only be comparable to a high-grade spiritual artifact after 1,000 years? The Cosmos Bow suddenly stopped. Qin Shujian's words immediately reminded him that the other party was a man who had a Tao artifact. Not to mention a high-grade spiritual artifact, even a half-step Tao artifact might not be able to catch his eye. But soon, the imminent threat of death made the Cosmos Bow immediately come back to his senses. I have been in the world for thousands of years, and I know many things in the world that others don't know. As long as you let me go, I can tell you many, many secrets. Once you are a spiritual artifact in the Coiling Stone sect, even if you live for 10,000 years, what can you know? Stop, stop, as long as you give me a way out. I swear that I will follow you for life and will not have any thoughts of rebellion. If I violate this oath, I will definitely be punished by the heavens. Perhaps the Cosmos Bow's strong desire to live moved the other party. Qin Shujian temporarily stopped the thought of transforming, looked at the Cosmos Bow and said, Do you know where I can get more connate spiritual artifacts, and where the demons are suppressed? I know. If I find out that you have lied to me, you should know the consequences. Understood. As long as it could live, the Cosmos Bow would agree to anything now. Looking at the Cosmos Bow in his hand, and then at the cloud-piercing arrow, Qin Shujian asked again, Is the cloud-piercing arrow one with you? Or are they two separate spiritual artifacts? The cloud-piercing arrow is my companion's spiritual artifact. If I have the cloud-piercing arrow, my strength can double. If I don't have the cloud-piercing arrow, I am roughly equivalent to a mid-grade spiritual artifact. However, my spirituality is higher than theirs, and I can do the same as the Tao artifact in your hand, automatically protecting its owner and killing enemies. If you take me with you, you can fight two against one. The Cosmos Bow was afraid that the mid-grade spiritual artifact would not attract the other party, so it added a few more words. Hearing this, Qin Shujian understood the relationship between the two. As for the Cosmos Bow's last words, he did not think that it was lying. A spiritual Tao artifact like the Thousand Mountain Blood could already kill enemies on its own. The Cosmos Bow had shot him directly in the Coiling Stone sect, and its power could easily kill a peak true martial expert. But the cloud-piercing arrow is already broken, so it is useless to keep it for you. As long as the cloud-piercing arrow is placed in a place with dense spirit chi, It will be able to absorb the spirit chi of heaven and earth to repair itself. This is also one of the methods of innate spiritual artifacts. Furthermore, innate spiritual artifacts absorb the spirit chi of heaven and earth, which indirectly increases the density of spirit chi in the sect. Its effect is comparable to that of spirit stones. The Cosmos Bow hurriedly explained when it heard that there was hope of letting go of the cloud-piercing arrow. Although the cloud-piercing arrow was not its main body, it was still a companion spiritual artifact. Without the cloud-piercing arrow, its strength would decrease by at least 50%. A spiritual artifact. If its power decreased, its effect would also decrease greatly. In the future, if Qin Shujian was unhappy with it, he would directly swallow it. Then it would really be finished. Hearing this, Qin Shujian nodded and said, "All right, then I will give you a chance. Master, please drip your blood on it." He took out the 1,000 mountain blood and easily made a cut on his finger. The mercury-like blood dripped down and merged with the Cosmos Bow. What a powerful blood chi! The Cosmos Bow was shocked again. After the blood merged, Qin Shujian's mind was connected to the bow in front of him. Then, he looked at the cloud-piercing arrow and considered if he should drip his blood on it. The Cosmos Bow's voice sounded in his mind, "Master, the cloud-piercing arrow is my companion spiritual artifact. It is innately under my control. You do not need to drip your blood on it." Hearing this, Qin Shujian stopped what he was doing. However, he still reminded it, "In the future, call me Sect Master." "Yes, Sect Master," Qin Bao replied flatteringly. Then, Qin Shujian took the Cosmos Bow and the cloud-piercing arrow and walked towards the peak of Mount Liang. What a dense spirit chi of heaven and earth. I never thought that there would be spirit stones buried here. When he arrived at the peak of Mount Liang, the Cosmos Bow let out a sigh. Qin Shujian asked, "You can sense the existence of spirit stones?" "Of course. My spirit chi is very strong. How could treasures like spirit stones, which are full of spirit chi, escape my senses? In the future, if Sect Master wants to search for treasures in secret realms, bring me along and you will definitely return with a full load." Hee. Qin Shujian replied with a fake smile to the Cosmos Bow's constant demonstration of its usefulness. Then, he asked, "How should I place the cloud-piercing arrow? Since Sect Master has spirit stones, just place it on the soil where the spirit stones are buried. It will automatically absorb them." According to the Cosmos Bow's words, Qin Shujian placed the 2 broken arrows on the soil where the spirit stones were buried. Then, the spirit chi of heaven and earth seemed to be pulled by something. The spirit chi of heaven and earth surged and entered the cloud-piercing arrow. However, the spirit chi of heaven and earth was surging. The cloud-piercing arrow could not completely absorb the spirit chi. The excess spirit chi that leaked out stayed in Mount Liang and indirectly increased the density of the spirit chi. Qin Shujian secretly nodded his head at this change. At least, in this matter, the Cosmos Bow did not dare to deceive him. Having a spirit chi of heaven and earth to guard the sect, other than being able to suppress the sect's luck, it could also increase the density of the spirit chi in the sect. Such a treasure. Its effect was even greater than he had imagined. "Sect Master, if it's possible, let me stay here as well. Maybe I can increase my spirit chi faster. Then you can stay here." For such a request, Qin Shujian easily satisfied the other party. After placing the Cosmos Bow and the cloud-piercing arrow on the peak of Mount Liang, he directly left this place. Now, he had other things to deal with. The Cosmos Bow had already recognized him as its master. Qin Shujian was not afraid that it would overturn the heavens. After dealing with these important matters, he would have a good chat with this spirit chi of heaven and earth about life and ideals. Chapter 183. When he returned to his bedroom, Qin Shujian took a look at his attributes. The Yuan Dian had been deduced to the 20th level, which was the perfected true martial section. The origin ocean returning technique had also reached the perfected true martial section. It was worth noting that, after the origin ocean returning technique had reached the perfected level, his Dantian had doubled in size and the upper limit of his quintessential essence capacity had also doubled. However, Now that the two cultivation techniques had reached the perfected true martial section, Qin Shujian had yet to sense the existence of a limit, even though his dantian was already filled with quintessential essence. This also meant that he could still continue to increase his quintessential essence. The fiery flame technique had also been deduced to the third level of the true martial section, while the great dream spirit capturing technique had just entered the true martial section. Due to the lower levels of these two techniques, the quintessential essence that they could provide was not very high. In order to break through the shackles of the true martial section, I'm afraid the first step is to reach the limit of the true martial section. Similar to the limit of the basic martial section, Qin Shujian had no intention of leaving the true dominion to break through. After all, even if he broke through to the spirit martial realm in the spirit protectorate, he would still be a true martial realm cultivator when he returned to the true dominion. Before he broke through the shackles, there was not much difference between the spirit martial realm and the true martial realm in the true dominion. The main thing was the origin sect had laid a foundation in the true dominion of the Liang Mountain. If they were to rashly move to the spirit protectorate, they would be annihilated if they were not careful. After all, in any region, the resources had been divided up by the original sections. Then, the new sects would be ostracized. It was not impossible for them to join forces and destroy the new sections. The origin sect was extremely powerful now. However, this was only in the true dominion. If they went to the spirit protectorate, even if the 1,500 inner energy cultivators could fight against 10 spirit martial realm cultivators, could they fight against 100 spirit martial realm cultivators? After all, in terms of strength, the origin sect had not reached the level where they could be fearless in the spirit protectorate. Subsequently, Qin Shujian looked at the other attribute values. Most of the cultivators he had killed during this period were true martial realm cultivators, so they had provided a lot of life sources. Even though he had used a large amount of life source to upgrade the origin ocean returning technique, there were still over 10,000 life sources left. This amount of life source, this was much more than what he had accumulated in the past month. However, for the current Qin Shujian, the source of life was only a part of it. The luck points were even more tempting to him. Luck, 17. 5 of the luck points were originally there, and the remaining 12 points were from the contribution of the spiritual equipment. He took out the 1,000 mountain blood. Qin Shujian immediately threw in 10 luck points. The thunder Dao mark on the crystal blade was deep, and a terrifying power was gathering within it. Beside the Dao mark, a pattern appeared, as if it was naturally carved. In a split second, a terrifying aura appeared in the sky above Mount Liang. There were faint traces of lightning lingering in the air, causing everyone's heart to sink. At the peak of Mount Liang, the Chenkuan Bao was absorbing the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. However, at this moment, the Chenkuan Bao stopped absorbing the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. The Bao's body lay on the ground, trembling. Dao artifact. Spirit artifacts and Dao artifacts were on two completely different levels. Even though he had lived for thousands of years, when he felt the pressure of the Dao artifact, his mind still trembled. He did not dare to have the slightest thought of resisting. This aura came very quickly. He left quickly as well, after confirming that there was no danger. Only then did the Chenkuan Bao stand up. Then, relying on the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, it slightly floated in the air. Then, it inhaled and exhaled spiritual energy to nourish itself, like a noble existence. 10 luck points were used. Other than its aura becoming stronger and its spirituality increasing, the 1,000 mountain blood was still a Dao artifact. As for the promotion of the sect that did not exist, looking at the remaining luck points, Qin Shujian took out 0.8 and fused it with the 1,000 mountain blood. The aura slightly condensed again, and then there was no movement. At this point, there were only 7 luck points left. Then, with a thought, he consumed 8,000 life points and deduced the Raging Flame technique to the 14th level. This low-grade truth level technique officially entered the ranks of the mid-grade truth level. The Yang Fire level 3 also became the Yang Fire level 4. The Yang Fire level 4 had already become very obvious. The aura of the purest Yang was constantly attached to the true essence. This made the true essence have a powerful characteristic, causing it to have more attacking power. The next day, Qin Shujian gathered a group of elders and held a meeting in the Chengwu Hall. Elder Su, tell us about our harvest this time. Yes. Su Yuanming nodded slightly, then immediately got up and looked at Qin Shujian and the other elders. This time, we destroyed a total of 7 sects and seized a total of 980,000 taels of silver. In the mortal rank, there are 337 low-grade cultivation techniques, 1923 martial arts, 129 mid-grade cultivation techniques, 807 martial arts, 103 high-grade cultivation techniques, and 568 martial arts. In the truth level, there are 51 low-grade cultivation techniques, 179 martial arts, 23 mid-grade cultivation techniques, 42 martial arts, 11 high-grade cultivation techniques, and 19 martial arts. There is also 1 low-grade spiritual level cultivation technique and 2 low-grade spiritual level martial arts. At this point, he paused and then said again, in addition, there are 13 first-grade refined weapons, 7 sets of armor, 58 second-grade refined weapons, 26 sets of armor, 73 third-grade refined weapons, and 107 sets of armor. As for those below 3rd grade, I won't go into detail. There are 3,958 weapons below 3rd grade and 4,023 sets of armor. In addition, there are various spiritual plants, ores, and other precious calligraphy and paintings. According to my estimate, there are about 1 million to 7 million. Boom. After Su Yuanming finished, the other party's news completely exploded in the Chengwu Hall. Zhang Feng, the great elder of technique imparting, also had a look of astonishment. As for Niu Feng and the others, they couldn't suppress the joy in their hearts at all. They couldn't even sit or stand up. We've made a fortune. We've really made a fortune this time. Haha, with so many resources, it's more than enough for our Yuan sect to expand several times. Every elder was unusually excited, and the Chengwu Hall was filled with voices of discussion. Not only them, even Qin Shujian himself was shocked by what he had gained this time. There were thousands of cultivation techniques. Even if all of them were at the mortal level, this harvest would be enough to fill the library to the brim. Furthermore, there were many true-grade cultivation techniques, martial arts techniques, and even spirit-grade cultivation techniques among them. For the True Dominion sects, a true-grade, superior-grade cultivation technique was already a cornerstone of the sect. The 3 spirit-grade cultivation techniques and martial arts techniques were completely unexpected gains. According to Qin Shujian's own rough estimate, such a harvest would have cost at least 10 million taels of silver if he had bought it from the Chung Trading Company. There were also refined weapons. For inner aura realm cultivators, refined weapons and armor below 3rd grade were not very useful. Only refined weapons and armor above 3rd grade were truly mainstream. Most cultivators at the peak of the true martial realm mostly had 1st grade weapons. As for spirit weapons, they were the cornerstone of the sect. It was already good enough for each sect to have one. Wanting more was undoubtedly an extravagant hope. In addition, there were 98 taels of silver and more than 2 million taels of materials. The Origin sect's harvest this time, according to Qin Shujian's estimate, it was at least 30 million taels of silver. Even if there were some discrepancies, it should not be too far off. Thinking of this, he really sucked in a breath of cold air. How much was the Origin sect's monthly output? Under the circumstances of exploiting the players and deducting the monthly expenses, the profit was only about 100,000 to 200,000 taels of silver. It had only been a year, so it had only made 1 or 2 million taels of silver. 30 million taels of silver was equivalent to the Origin sect's 10 to 20 years of accumulation. Did I lose 20 years of hard work? This thought suddenly surfaced in Qin Shujian's mind. Xing Hong licked his lips and sneered. Sect Master, should we exterminate the Blue Stream, Spirit Rhino, and Sun Hua sects of the True Dominion first? These 3 True Dominion are close to the Liang Mountain True Dominion. They will obstruct our development sooner or later. Rather than wait for them to make a move, why don't we exterminate them first? There are about 8 or 9 sects in total in these 3 True Dominion. Zhang Hong's words immediately attracted the agreement of some of the elders. At first, they had not been aware of the specific gains. However, After Su Yuanming's statistics this time, they were completely shocked. Zheng Hong, Fu Gang, and the others had been mountain bandits in their previous lives. Their ferocious nature had not changed. At the moment, they all had the idea of continuing to exterminate sects and strengthen the origin sect. Zheng Fong shook his head and said, "Although we have our reasons for doing so, the extermination of the 7 sects has already made the other sects sensitive. If we attack the other sects now for no reason, they will definitely retaliate. Our origin sect can deal with 1 or 2 sects, and we can also deal with 10 or 20 sections. However, we are not strong enough to deal with 50 or 60 sections. Currently, there are more than 50 or 60 sects in the Baiyun Mansion." This was akin to pouring cold water on Zheng Hong and the others. However, Zheng Fong was the elder technique imparting technique, so his status was higher than the other elders. Therefore, he did not need to worry too much about certain things when he spoke. Not to mention, what he had said was also the truth. At this moment, Su Yuanming also said, "The elder technique imparting technique is right. Furthermore, these sects have existed for thousands of years. They might even have some connections with the spirit domain. If we really incur the wrath of the masses, someone from the spirit domain might also intervene. Although more than 1,000 inner energy cultivators are powerful, they are only a drop in the ocean in the Baiyun Mansion. After all, they are still too weak." During the Battle of the Devil Calamity, other than Qin Shujian, the other elders of the origin sect did not take part in the battle. However, given the intelligence of the sects, how could they not know what had happened? The Great Zhao Empire had lost more than a few thousand true martial realm cultivators just to fight against the demon disaster, including many inner and outer invulnerability cultivators. And this was only the strength that the Marquis of Baiyun had mobilized in a few days. In comparison, the origin sect was not considered very strong. Upon hearing this, Zheng Hong and the others calmed down. Indeed, the benefits just now had made them momentarily dizzy. Chapter 184. Let's not talk about the other true dominion matters for now. How many menial disciples have we brought back from the 7 sects? Qin Shujian spoke, directly cutting off the topic. Then, he changed the topic and asked another question. He was very tempted by the rewards this time, especially the sect-guarding spirit weapons of the 7 sects, which had allowed him to discover a new way to obtain the providence points. However, just as Zheng Fong and Su Yuanming had said, the origin sect was not invincible yet. Even if its strength was enough to crush any sect in the true dominion, as long as it was not invincible, there would definitely be scruples. If it really wanted to annex the true dominion sects on a large scale, it might even cause the imperial court to intervene. After all, if such a thing really happened, it would definitely cause a lot of turmoil. Therefore, unless there was a good reason, otherwise, it would be impossible to massacre sects and exterminate sections. There are a total of 4,213 menial disciples this time. Zheng Fong cupped his hands before he frowned and said, "However, these people are the remnants of the 7 sections. I'm afraid it's not very safe for us to accept them." "Don't use people you don't suspect." Qin Shujian shook his head and said, "Since I dared to use them, I'm not afraid that they will bite back. Furthermore, they are merely menial disciples and will not be able to enter the core of the origin sect. However, if there are really talents among them, it's not impossible to nurture them. In a few days, we will open the mountain gate and recruit disciples. A few elders who have established other sects will also need manpower to build the mountain. Coincidentally, these menial disciples will save us a lot of trouble." Upon hearing this, Zheng Fong did not say anything else. Although he did not know where Qin Shujian's confidence came from, given the origin sect's current strength, a few thousand menial disciples at the basic realm would not be able to cause much trouble. If there were really people with bad intentions, they could just kill them all when the time came. This former private school teacher, now, his heart had also become ruthless. Now that the Yuan sect has grown stronger, it is inevitable that it will be too busy if there are only a few elders managing the affairs. Therefore, I have decided to divide the positions of the elders into the inner and outer sects. Now, all the elders are inner sect elders. The position of outer sect elder is higher than deacons and lower than inner sect elders, but the treatment is the same as inner sect elders. After that, Qin Shujian made another announcement. No one objected to this. In the end, Yuan's sect was founded by him, and the other elders could only give him a suggestion at most. In addition, as the sect grew stronger day by day, the sect affairs also gradually increased. Now, let's set up a weapon hall. Everyone in Yuan's sect can use their contribution points to exchange for weapons and armors. Let's place the weapons and armors that we have collected in the weapon hall. At this point, Qin Shujian paused for a moment before continuing. My Yuan sect has a deacon, Zhang Ergu, who is quite strong and loyal to the sect. Now, let's promote him to an outer sect elder and take charge of the weapon hall. Yuan sect had a mission hall and a book collection pavilion. Although Su Yuanming did not have a specific hall in charge of the money, it had formed a hall of its own. Now that there was a weapon hall, it was equivalent to perfecting the sect. As for the candidates, when he met Zhang Ergu, Qin Shujian had already decided to give him a chance. In addition to the ability to deduct contribution points, he could only rest assured that he would give it to someone who was loyal and would never betray him. Therefore, it was imperative to promote a few more people to the top. Zhang Ergu? Most people were stunned when they heard this name. Only Zheng Fong, Fu Gang, and a few others seemed to vaguely remember such a person. The decision was made. Next was the issue of execution. This time, the 5 people who were going to set up a new branch were Zhang Hong, Fu Gang, Qiu Ping, Li Zhongyi, and Chao Sheng. They had already found a suitable place. Among them, Zheng Hong had found the Mountain of Chaos. With more than 4,000 odd disciples, each person could get 800 to 900 people. This was completely enough to set up a new branch. The carriage moved forward. The one pulling the carriage was a beast that looked like a ferocious tiger. This was the beast that the Ox Demon Lord had specially offered to pull the carriage for Qin Shujian to please him. This mutated beast was quite intelligent and had the strength of a 7th-grade martial arts practitioner. It was as easy as flipping one's hand for it to pull the carriage. In addition, this mutated beast was not weak. If it encountered any ordinary trouble, its master did not even need to step in. It could solve the problem on its own. Furthermore, just the appearance of a ferocious tiger was enough to intimidate many people. Face City. The mutated beast pulled the carriage slowly to the city gate. The surrounding citizens were afraid that they would not be able to compare. They could not help but reveal a terrified expression when they saw the mutated beast. However, when they saw that the mutated beast was only pulling the carriage properly and did not do anything bad, these people gradually relaxed. The fear on their faces also turned into curiosity. A ferocious tiger pulling the carriage is so majestic. Where did this noble come from? Did you see the symbol on the carriage? That's an expert from Yuanzhong. So it's Yuanzhong. No wonder it's so majestic. The surrounding citizens discussed animatedly and revealed looks of envy from time to time. Yuanzhong. He was already a household name in the true dominion of Mount Liang. Everyone knew that Yuanzhong had many experts. The sect master of Yuanzhong was a top-notch expert. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the #1 expert in the true dominion of Mount Liang. Even the city lord of Fei City. He had to be polite when he saw people from Yuanzhong. Under the gaze of the citizens, Yuanzhong's carriage slowly drove into the city. When the soldiers guarding the city saw that no one was driving the carriage and that only a mutated beast was pulling it forward, they wanted to stop it. However, when they saw the symbol of Yuanzhong on the carriage, they did not do so. They did not want to stop people from Yuanzhong without permission. If the other party was angered, even the city lord would not be able to protect him. When the mutated beast pulled the carriage into the city, it inevitably caused another wave of panic. However, when they saw that the mutated beast only pulled the carriage forward and did not pounce on the people on the left and right, they gradually relaxed. Very soon, the carriage stopped at the entrance of the carrier business. When the people guarding the entrance of the business saw this, they were first shocked. When they saw the symbol of Yuanzhong, someone immediately went inside to report. Someone else went forward to welcome them. I wonder which expert from Yuanzhong is here. As soon as he finished speaking, A person lifted the curtain and came down. He cupped his hands and smiled faintly. I am Yuanzong's deacon, Wang Hu. I am here to meet Gu Feng, manager Gu of your business. Sir, please wait for a moment. The manager will be here soon. That person was shocked and hurriedly replied. Yuanzong's deacon. Apart from the sect master and the elders, the deacons were considered the people with real power in Yuanzong. Not long later, Gu Feng walked out first. When he saw Wang Hu, his pupils constricted slightly. However, he quickly cupped his hands and smiled. Deacon Wang, you are here. Quickly, come in and have a seat with me. Please, please. The two of them entered one after another. Only the mutated beast was left resting at the entrance of the business. The rest of the people looked at each other and did not dare to interfere. I heard from Yuanzong's players that Yuanzong will open the mountain gate in a few days. When that time comes, they will continue to recruit disciples. Should we go together? LV Jian tilted his head and asked his companion beside him. Both of them were wearing the Blue Cloud sect's inner sect disciple uniform. Obviously, they were members of the Blue Cloud sect. Is the news confirmed? It can't be wrong. My friend is an inner sect disciple of Yuanzong. Then why are we hesitating? We must think of a way to enter Yuanzong. When Yuanzong first recruited disciples, they did not make it. Later on, they heard that Yuanzong had stopped recruiting disciples. Therefore, they joined the Blue Cloud sect. In terms of foundation, the Blue Cloud sect was much more profound than the newly established Yuanzong. If not for the reputation of the Liang Mountain Stockade Master and the simple and clear requirements to enter the sect, Yuanzong might not have been able to attract so many players. Especially after the sects were opened one after another, there were fewer players who wanted to join Yuanzong. However, ever since the news and videos of Yuanzong annihilating 7 sects in a short span of 3 to 4 days were uploaded to the forum, the other players suddenly came to a realization. The sect established by the Liang Mountain Stockade Master seemed to be too powerful. This was especially so for the players near the Liang Mountain True Dominion. At this moment, many of them felt a sense of crisis. What if Yuanzong waved the butcher's knife at these sections? Would they run or not? Therefore, when the news that Yuanzong was going to recruit disciples spread among the players, many disciples of the weaker sects and players from the sects near Yuanzong had thoughts of betraying their sections. Rather than wait for Yuanzong to come knocking on their door and then betray their sects and escape, they might as well take this opportunity to enter Yuanzong and rely on this towering tree to develop steadily. As for the punishment for betraying the sect, it was not completely unbearable. For example, the situation of Lu Jian and Luo Yuan was just an abbreviation for the players from the Blue Cloud sect and the other sections. Almost on the same day, many players secretly betrayed their sects and rushed toward the Liang Mountain True Dominion. This was a big deal. It was not that the other sects did not notice it. However, when it came to Yuanzong, they could only turn a blind eye and pretend that they did not see anything. On the other side, as the person who negotiated with Gu Feng, Wang Hu had already purchased a large amount of construction materials. Then, he asked the people of the carrier trading company to escort them to the stone forest and Xining plains. He wanted to establish a branch. It was impossible for them to just occupy a desolate mountain. At the very least, he had to look decent. Although he could not compare to Yuanzong, he could not be too shabby. Time passed slowly. The construction of the branch was also in progress. With the help of a large number of Chor's disciples and the fact that these people had a high cultivation base, the speed of the construction of the branch was much faster than when he had first established Yuanzong. Qin Shujian had been silently cultivating the Great Dream spirit capture technique for the past few days. Without relying on his life source to deduce, this was the only cultivation technique that he could cultivate at the moment. He had already reached the limit of being able to cultivate the other cultivation techniques on his own. Very soon, a few days passed. In the blink of an eye, it was time for Yuanzong's mountain gate to open. Chapter 185. After almost half a year, the Origin sect opened its doors again. Compared to the previous time, the Origin sect was only famous in the few True Dominion nearby. On the day of the sect's opening, only players would be recruited. However, This time, when the Origin sect was about to open its doors, the news had already spread to most of the True Dominion in the North Cloud Manor, except for some remote True Dominion. Regardless of whether they were players or the aristocratic families in the game, however, when they heard that the Origin sect was opening its doors and was about to recruit disciples, they were all shocked and flocked to the Liang Mountain True Dominion. Half a month ago, if one were to ask about the Liang Mountain True Dominion and the Origin sect, most people in the North Cloud Manor's True Dominion might not have heard of them. After all, although the Protectorate Lord was famous, however, no matter how famous a domain lord of the true martial realm was, how famous could he be? However, now, the situation was completely different. 1,500 inner invulnerability experts had come out of the Liang Mountain and wiped out the Northern Blue, Fenghai, and Burning Mountain True Dominion 7 sects in an instant. After this battle, all the sects in the True Dominion were shocked. Even the Spirit Protectorate had heard of the Origin sect. The reason the True Dominion was called the True Dominion was because of the existence of shackles. Any power that exceeded this limit would be suppressed. Anyone who tried to use force would also be punished by the heavens. 1,500 inner invulnerability experts, a Tao artifact, and the Protectorate Lord. With such strength, even if the major sects of the Spirit Protectorate entered the True Dominion, they might not be able to compete with the Origin sect. After all, even if a Spirit Martial Realm cultivator was suppressed to the peak True Martial Realm, it would be very difficult for them to be a match for a Protectorate Lord. A Protectorate Lord was a Protectorate Lord. He was considered invincible in a Protectorate. In fact, a Protectorate Lord was rarely a match for a Protectorate Lord in a Protectorate of the same level. However, anyone who became a Protectorate Lord, they were all existences who had broken their own limits. Therefore, before the Origin sect opened its doors, the news had already spread everywhere. Everyone, stop and rest for a while. The group of 6 pulled on the reins, and the galloping horses suddenly came to a stop. Soon after, they dismounted and found a shady place to sit down. Then, someone took food and water from the horses and distributed them to the rest of the people. After drinking a few mouthfuls of water, Lin Jie put away the water bag and took out the map from his arms. He looked at it carefully, and after combining it with the terrain in front of him, his tired face finally showed some joy. We should be within the boundaries of the True Dominion of Mount Liang in another 5 kilometers. Really? Hearing this, the others also gathered around. Although they did not quite understand the map in front of them, they firmly believed in Lin Jie's words. They had arrived. It was finally here. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Soon after, a young girl asked, "Will Yuan Zong really take us in? With our talents, it shouldn't be difficult for us to enter the Yuan sect. As long as we become Yuan sect's disciples, even the Celestial sect won't be able to do anything to us," replied Lin Jie confidently. As for Yuan Zong, he already had a deep understanding of it. This sect, which had been established by a Protectorate Lord, had defeated the 7 sects not long ago by relying on its own strength. It was already an overlord power in the True Dominion. Such a force. What they cared about the most was their reputation. Although the Celestial sect was a large sect, it definitely could not threaten an overlord power in the True Dominion. Even if the Celestial sect really wanted to attack the Yuan sect might not necessarily lose if they fought in the True Dominion. At this thought, Lin Jie said in a low voice, "The family head once said that the Yuan sect's sect master, Qin Shujian, is a rare expert at the Protectorate Lord level. Any Protectorate Lord will at least be at the Divine Martial Realm in the future. It is even possible for him to surpass the Divine Martial Realm. Now that the Yuan sect is the overlord of the True Dominion, if we rely on this towering tree, we might be able to take revenge when the Yuan sect's sect master really rises. Furthermore, we are leaving secretly this time. The people of the Celestial sect might not know that we are coming to the True Dominion of Mount Liang. Anyway, the opening of the Yuan sect's mountain gate this time is our only chance." Upon hearing this, everyone else was silent. The Lin family used to be a powerful family, but that was in the past. Now, under the pressure of the Celestial sect, the entire Lin family had been annihilated. Only a few people had escaped. After they had escaped from the Lin family, they had not dared to stay in the Spirit Dominion. After all, The celestial sect had a great reputation in the spirit dominion. Nobody would offend the celestial sect for a few people who were struggling at death's door. Therefore, the true dominion had become the target of Linjia and the others. However, an ordinary sect in the true dominion would not be able to withstand a single blow from the celestial sect. They might even be sent to the celestial sect as soon as they found out about their identities. Therefore, in order to find protection, they had to be powerful enough to not fear the celestial sect. The Yuan sect, this was their only choice. In the end, Lin Jie instructed again, when we enter the Yuan sect this time, don't mention our identities to anyone. A little impatience will spoil great plans. When we have the chance in the future, we will naturally take revenge. Immediately, after a simple rest, the few of them continued to ride their horses towards the true dominion of Mount Liang. At the same time, now, fast horses and carriages could be seen entering the true dominion of Mount Liang at any time. There were also lone rangers heading towards the true dominion. Among them, this included many players. Isn't this move too risky? Why would it be risky? The more dangerous a place is, the safer it is. Are you afraid that the Mount Liang stockade master will recognize you? Lu Qingheng looked at Chao Hong and shook his head. You have been in the game for so long and have killed so many wild monsters and intelligent NPCs. If one of them was standing in front of you, would you be able to recognize him? I can't. Chao Hong thought about it and realized that this seemed to make sense. Tens of thousands of players had died at the hands of the Mount Liang stockade master. There was no reason for him to remember the two of them. As a result, he felt much more at ease. As the saying goes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. This was mainly because after betraying the Coiling Stone sect, the two of them had been looking for an opportunity to enter another sect. However, they had received news that the Yuan sect had opened its doors. In the True Dominion, the sect with the lowest probability of being destroyed was definitely the Yuan sect. If they could take this opportunity to enter the Yuan sect, not only would they be able to develop steadily in the early stages, but they would also be able to find an opportunity to take advantage of the Mount Liang stockade master in the later stages. No matter how they thought about it, this was not a loss at all. If they had the opportunity to kill the Mount Liang stockade master, even if they had to endure the punishment of betraying the sect, the rewards offered by the other party would definitely be a profitable deal. With such thoughts in mind, Lu Qingheng and Chao Hong hit it off immediately after their discussion. Meanwhile, Qin Shujian, who was in his own courtyard, looked at Zheng Fong and asked, "How is the situation in the village below?" All the outer sect disciples living below have been evacuated. A portion of them stayed in the Yuan sect, while the rest were scattered to the other mountain ranges. Zheng Fong stroked his beard without hesitation and said, "Based on the number of people who have come, even if we empty the village, we might not be able to accommodate all of them. There's nothing we can do if we can't accommodate all of them. Our preparations this time were still lacking. After the disciple recruitment ends, we might be able to expand the village below the mountain into a small town. Won't this incur the displeasure of the imperial court? It's just a place to accommodate most of the sect's own people. The imperial court won't be angry with the Yuan sect over such a small matter. If there's really a problem, I'll explain it to them." Qin Shujian shook his head and took a sip of tea. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Compared to the spiritual tea he had tasted in the Cheng Yun Trading Company and Marquis Baiyun's villa, this tea without the slightest bit of spiritual energy was really inferior. Now the Yuan sect was rich. He felt that it was necessary to purchase some spiritual tea, or else it would be embarrassing if he didn't have anything suitable to entertain his guests. As for the people living in the village, let them settle their own meals. However, don't leave anything out when it comes to collecting money. Don't worry, Sect Master. Elder Su will definitely take care of this properly." After Zheng Fong replied, he felt a little helpless. He didn't know why. His Sect Master seemed to be obsessed with money. No matter what he did, he couldn't do without money. Now that he had opened the mountain gate and was recruiting disciples, he also wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to make some money. However, Zheng Fong didn't have any objections to Qin Shujian's decision. After all, the operation of a sect master was ultimately inseparable from money. In addition, The village was built by the sect, and there was no reason for it to be used by others for free. Subsequently, Zheng Fang asked again, "Sect Master, are you not going to show up this time? It's enough for you to show up for the recruitment of disciples. This time, select a few carefully. Aptitude is secondary. However, eliminate all those with improper conduct. It won't be too late for me to take a look at the last step." "I understand." The two of them chatted for a while. Finally, Zheng Fang looked at the sky and immediately got up to leave. The sun was high in the sky. It was also time to preside over the recruitment of disciples. After Zheng Fang left, Qin Shujian was the only one left in the courtyard. During this period of time, he had promoted a few more outer sect elders. Together with Zheng Fang and the others, the matters of the Yuan sect had been handled in an orderly manner. As the sect master, he didn't have to do everything personally. The sect wasn't like other things. It was a place where strength was respected. Qin Shujian was very clear that as long as he was strong enough to intimidate everyone, his position as the sect master would be unshakable. As for other things, they were just for him to use. Therefore, ever since Qin Shujian returned from destroying the 7 sects, he had been gradually delegating power to the elders, both big and small, to handle. As the sect master, he only needed to focus on increasing his strength. After drinking tea, he glanced at his own life force source. Oh, more than 10,000 life force source. With a thought, 10,000 life force source was consumed. A wave of scorching true essence emerged in his dantian. The Raging Flame technique had quietly entered the 5th level of the true martial technique. In its place, the Sun Flame had also evolved to the 5th level. Tisk! Qin Shujian felt the increase in his strength and couldn't help but be in a good mood. He immediately got up and left the courtyard, walking towards the peak of Liang Mountain. After so long, it was time to have a good chat with that Bao. Chapter 186. Clouds and mist were faintly discernible. A powerful aura suddenly erupted and dispersed the clouds and mist. Everyone was shocked and involuntarily looked in the same direction. Then, they were overjoyed. The mountain gate is open. The experts of the Origin sect are coming down. Quick, quick, quick. Instantly, a large number of people gathered below the Origin sect's mountain gate were in an uproar. They had been waiting here for a long time. Some of them had even arrived 3 to 5 days in advance, because they had been waiting for the day the Origin sect's mountain gate opened. Silence. A furious roar, like a thunderclap, directly suppressed all the noise. Then, a man flew through the air and landed in the middle of the village. He landed on a temporary high platform made of blue stones. "I am the Origin sect's law-enforcing elder. No one is allowed to make a ruckus." Niu Feng scanned the crowd with his fierce eyes. A terrifying aura erupted instantly, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. After the Origin sect had been promoted to a 4th-level force, he had also broken through to the 7th-level true martial realm. Furthermore, this was the territory of the Origin sect. With the help of this force, Niu Feng's cultivation level had reached the peak of the true martial realm. The peak of the true martial realm. This was considered top-notch in the True Dominion. Most of the people who had joined the Origin sect's mountain gate this time were not at a high cultivation level. Even those at the true martial realm were rare. In the face of such pressure, except for a few people, almost no one could remain calm. Upon seeing everyone's reaction, Niu Feng was very satisfied. Basic martial realm cultivators stand to the right. True martial realm cultivators stand to the left. During this period, no one is allowed to fight. Violators will be expelled from the territory of the Origin sect. Then, over 100 inner aura cultivators came out of the mountain gates and surrounded the entire village. Even if they did not deliberately release their aura, it still caused people to feel fear and dread. Just as the Origin sect was methodically recruiting disciples, Qin Shujian arrived at the peak of Liang Mountain. The cosmic Bao, which had been absorbing the spirit qi of heaven and earth, suddenly stopped. However, it was still floating in the air. An old voice was heard. "Sect Master, how is the recovery?" asked Qin Shujian. "The spirit qi here is rich. However, the piercing cloud arrow will need a few months to recover. The cosmic bow's voice was a little excited. For a fae that had existed for thousands of years, a few months was just a snap of the fingers. Earlier, you said that you knew where to find more innate spiritual items and evil demons. Now, tell me directly. The body of the cosmos bow trembled, and the old voice slowly said, "May I ask why the sect master wants to know the whereabouts of the demons?" The birth of the evil demons will definitely bring about a demon calamity. I was born in this world, and in order to prevent the people from suffering, I naturally have the responsibility to exterminate the evil demons, Qin Shujian said righteously. After that, the scene fell into silence. The people were plunged into misery and suffering. Is this what you should be saying? Thinking about the annihilated Coiling Stone sect and the many sect-guarding spiritual weapons in the storage ring, the Cosmos Bow suddenly didn't know what to say. However, in the end, it had a strong desire to survive, so it was impossible for it to speak without thinking. After pondering for a moment, the Cosmos Bow said, "Unless Zhu Bing makes a move, the evil demons will not die. Any dead evil demons will be reborn in the demon abyss. If the sect master releases the seal and kills the evil demons will be reborn in the demon abyss. Then the killed evil demons will be reborn in the demon abyss, which is equivalent to being indirectly free from the shackles of the seal. Although it is not easy for the evil demons to come out of the demon abyss, it is definitely easier than breaking the seal. If the sect master really wants to do this, you need to think twice before you act." Rebirth in the demon abyss? Qin Shujian frowned. It was the first time he had heard of the so-called demon abyss and rebirth in the demon abyss. If the Cosmos Bow didn't mention it, he wouldn't know about this at all. In an instant, Qin Shujian thought of the 3 evil demons that died in his hands: Undead Demon Lord, Gue Water Demon Lord, and 9 Mountain Demon Lord. At that time, he did indeed obtain luck value, and also received the system prompt and the corresponding source of life. Because of this, Qin Shujian once thought that the evil demons that died in his hands were really dead. Where is the demon abyss? No one knows where the demon abyss is. Maybe I haven't been able to come into contact with this level, but when innate spirit objects are born, they will obtain some incomplete memories of the world. According to my estimation, the demon abyss should be outside the world. Outside the world? You said that the demon abyss is outside the barrier of the world? It should be. The Cosmos Bow's answer was a little uncertain. After all, for things like the demon abyss, it could only deduce through a little memory, but it couldn't guarantee the specifics. Qin Shujian asked, "In that case, what is an ancestral armament?" Zhu Bing is the true creation of the world, respected and worshipped by all spirits, and finally an existence that can only be achieved after thousands of years. The Cosmos Bow paused and then said, "While Tao artifacts are frightening, ancestral armaments are existences that surpass Tao artifacts. Ancestral armaments are truly frightening weapons. Any ancestral armament is equivalent to an unrivaled expert that roams the world. Even if the evil demons can be reborn in the demon abyss, when they encounter Zhu Bing again, there is no possibility of rebirth." In the end, the Cosmos Bow's body trembled slightly, as if it was excited by the strength of Zhu Bing. Hearing this, Qin Shujian's heart also froze. From the description of the Cosmos Bow, Zhu Bing's horror was not comparable to Tao weapons, but according to the other party, Zhu Bing should be extremely rare. "Have you seen Zhu Bing?" "No." The Cosmos Bow's answer was very straightforward. Just when Qin Shujian thought that the other party was fooling him, it continued. "Zhu Bing's strength is imprinted in the depths of my memory, so sect master should not doubt the truth of my words." Then, the Cosmos Bow said again, "Sect master, if the Tao weapon in your hand is placed in the sect for tens of thousands of people to worship, it may be contaminated with a trace of Zhu Bing's aura. It's just that this requires the accumulation of time, and also depends on opportunity. Although I can't guarantee it, sect master can try." "It seems that I underestimated you." Looking at the Cosmos Bow in front of him, Qin Shujian realized that he had underestimated this innate spiritual object, which was only equivalent to a middle-grade spiritual weapon. There were many things. If the other party had not said it, he would not have known it all. According to Qin Shujian's estimation, whether it was Zhu Bing or the demon abyss, they were not things that the real martial arts realm should know. Perhaps only people like the god martial arts realm and Marquis Bayun could know these things. However, these things could not stop his desire to know the whereabouts of the evil demons. So what if it was the demon abyss? So what if it was reborn? I only want my luck points. The rest is none of my business. Then where is the place that you know sealed the evil demon? Hearing this, the Cosmos Bao had to answer truthfully. In fact, in any ordinary realm, there are evil demons sealed. But the sealed places are usually hidden and not accessible by ordinary people. Therefore, as long as you know where to find these places, you will not have to worry about not being able to find the evil demons. How should I find them? The simplest way is to use the Yuan corroding bone powder. Yuan corroding bone powder? Qin Shujian frowned. The Cosmos Bao said, Yuan corroding bone powder is formed by the evil demons after their deaths, and it is naturally very compatible with the evil demon's aura. As long as you have the Yuan corroding bone powder and get close to the evil demon's seal, you will naturally sense it. What a loss. This was the thought in Qin Shujian's mind. He had never thought that the Yuan corroding bone powder would be the key to finding the evil demons. When he thought of the 3 evil demons that died in his hands, the Yuan corroding bone powder from their corpses was not left behind. The reason was, it was because the Yuan corroding bone powder was extremely corrosive and difficult to carry. Moreover, although this thing was powerful, it might not be able to hurt people and instead harm oneself. Therefore, Qin Shujian did not want it. As for the others, in his impression, he did not seem to have collected the Yuan corroding bone powder. Now that he thought about it, after such a long time, the Yuan corroding bone powder had probably disappeared without a trace. It was impossible to find it again. After that, Qin Shujian asked a few more questions about the evil demons and then ignored the Cosmos Bao. As for the spiritual object, without asking, he knew that it would only be born with the appearance of the ordinary realm when the ordinary realm was born. Compared to that, he would prefer to get the Yuan corroding bone powder and then release 1 or 2 evil demons to harvest some luck value. This would be more practical. However, these were all things for the future. Looking at the great dream capturing spirit art that had almost reached the limit of the first layer of the Zhenwu chapter, Qin Shujian directly sat down cross-legged and silently circulated the cultivation method, absorbing the spirit qi of heaven and earth to break through. As for the Cosmos Bao, it also absorbed the spirit qi of heaven and earth again. On the peak of Mount Liang, 1 person and 2 spiritual objects silently refined the spirit qi of heaven and earth. The suction force produced could be said to be astonishing. It directly pulled a large amount of spirit qi, forming an obvious vortex in the sky. The spirit qi that had reached a certain level even had a faint cyan appearance. After about half a day, Qin Shujian's dantian slightly shook. The surging true essence surged from the bottom of the dantian, and then further filled the already abundant true essence, causing the liquefied true essence to seem to have more substance. The great dream capturing spirit art had officially broken through to the second layer of the Zhenwu chapter. Just as Qin Shujian opened his eyes, a voice came at the right time. Congratulations, Sect Master's cultivation has improved further. Breaking the shackles and becoming the spirit realm's domain master is not a problem. Promising. Qin Shujian smiled indifferently. He had never seen a spiritual object that could speak. He had never seen a spiritual object that could speak and was so knowledgeable. And he had never seen a spiritual object that could flatter so skillfully. If he had transformed the Cosmos Bao back then, it would have been a loss. Such a spiritual object, even if it was not very useful, it would be good to keep it by his side. At least, when necessary, he would not lack a teammate who would shout 666. Thinking of this, Qin Shujian said again, next time, add 666 in front. The effect will be better. 666. The Cosmos Bao was puzzled, but quickly reacted. This was probably a new phrase, and immediately replied, I'll remember it. Chapter 187. 3 days had passed. Yuan Zhong had practically picked out all the suitable people. As for the others, they were all dismissed. In the martial arts practice field, thousands of people were standing there quietly. To the players, entering the origin sect was a good opportunity to cool off. It would be too embarrassing if they failed because of a few words. As for the local NPCs in the game, there was no need to say more. To many people, entering the origin sect was an opportunity to achieve meteoric success. Therefore, no matter which side one belonged to, this was a rare opportunity to enter the Yuan sect. Right now, on the high platform in front of the martial arts practice field, Zheng Fang and the other elders had already taken their seats. Only the main seat was still empty. Everyone knew. Next, it was time for the origin sect master to appear. Qin Shujian. Very few people knew this name in the past. Now, very few people did not know it. He had become a protectorate lord with his own strength. After that, he had established the origin sect. In less than half a year, he had developed a new sect to the level of the true Dominion Overlord. Some people had already guessed. The origin sect could be a fourth-grade force. Or else, it was very difficult to explain why more than 1,000 inner energy cultivators had suddenly appeared. Time passed slowly. All of a sudden, thunder lingered in the sky above the origin sect. A terrifying heavenly might suddenly spread out, causing everyone to tremble. When they looked over, they saw a crystal saber in the sky. However, after just a few glances, many people felt a piercing pain in their eyes. They staggered and were about to fall to the ground. A Tao artifact? Anyone with a bit of knowledge would be able to guess the origin of the crystal saber hanging in the sky above the origin sect. Furthermore, only a Tao artifact in the legends would have such a frightening aura. If an ordinary cultivator's realm was not high enough, they would not even be qualified to look directly at it. Just as the Tao artifact appeared, Zheng Fang and the others stood up at the same time. They bowed toward the figure that had suddenly appeared in front of them. "Greetings, Sect Master." Hearing that, everyone turned away from the Tao artifact. When they looked at the figure on the high platform, they were shocked. Immediately, they bowed down. "Greetings, Sect Master." Chao Hong and Lu Qinghong, who were mixed in the crowd, bowed down as well, although they did not feel too good about worshipping an enemy NPC. However, as a player, he knew when to yield and when not to bow. Once he managed to sneak into Yuan's sect, he would have a chance to get back at him. So this is the sect master of Yuan's sect? How terrifying. In the crowd, Lin Jia also stole a glance at Qin Shujian from the corner of his eyes. Qin Shujian's aura was as frightening as the abyss, which was not something an ordinary true martial arts peak could compare with, even though he was at the basic martial arts level. But before the destruction of the Lin family, there were experts in the spirit martial realm. There were even more true martial realm martial artists. Even if he hadn't seen pork before, he had at least seen a pig run. He had a lot of contact with true martial realm cultivators, so he had a lot of understanding of this level. Qin Shujian looked at the martial arts stage below. Even without using his spiritual eye, he was able to roughly determine the cultivation level of everyone present. Basic martial realm. There were also true martial realm martial artists. I'm very happy that everyone was able to pass the selection and come here. This proves that everyone has their own uniqueness. However, if you want to enter my Yuan sect, you will need to pass another trial. Qin Shujian withdrew his gaze and said, "Sect Master, please tell us what the trial is. If I want to become a foreign minister, do I also need to pass the trial?" A physical invulnerability cultivator at the 7th level of the true martial realm cupped his hands and asked, "Anyone who wants to enter Yuan's sect is no exception." Qin Shujian had already sat down on the main seat and said, "As for what the trial is, you will know later." After that, Qin Shanxue trembled in the thunder, and a soft moan like a demon's sound came into the ears of everyone present, except for Qin Shujian and the others. The demon's sound entered the ears. It was the killing of heaven and earth. This was because Qin Shanxue had absorbed all the killing of heaven and earth after merging with the calamity-killing spear. However, after talking with the Cosmos Bao, Qin Shujian thought that the killing of heaven and earth on the calamity-killing spear might be the memory imprint of heaven and earth left by the spiritual object. Under the killing of heaven and earth, everyone stood rooted to the ground in a daze. However, in less than a second, someone screamed as if he had gone crazy or shouted, "Don't kill me! Don't kill me!" Then the voice stopped abruptly and he fainted on the ground. "Drag all the people who have fainted out and send them down the mountain." Qin Shujian looked at the scene in front of him and said calmly, "The real killing of heaven and earth was terrible. However, this was just a remnant memory after being weakened many times. It had nothing to do with the level of cultivation, but with the strength of one's mind. People who couldn't even hold on for a second were not suitable for cultivation at all. Even if they stepped on the path of cultivation, there was no future for them." Even though this conclusion was a little partial. However, Qin Shujian didn't have the time to pick them one by one. People with such bad minds were more likely to become traitors in the future than others. He couldn't keep an eye on the disciples of Yuan's sect every day and do nothing but check their loyalty. The whole process took less than 3 seconds. 600 or 700 people had been eliminated. There were still more than 5,000 people left. Dozens of people still fell every second. And as time went by, more and more people fell every second. After 30 seconds, there were only about 3,000 people left in the field. At this moment, when another person fell, Qin Shujian didn't ask anyone to carry him away. Obviously, in the face of the killing of heaven and earth, those who could hold on for 30 seconds were considered good minds. After 1 minute, almost everyone fell. Only the physical invulnerability cultivator who spoke first was still holding on. This time, it was hard for Qin Shujian not to notice him. A physical invulnerability cultivator who could reach this step had a strong mind. However, to be able to hold on for so long in the face of the killing of heaven and earth was definitely not simple. Although the other party looked like he was struggling, he could see that there was a new consciousness that was about to break out of the ground at any time. Qin Shujian smiled and said, "I didn't expect to see someone with top-notch talent this time." Intent. Although it hadn't really been born successfully, he believed that it wouldn't take long for him to successfully control his own intent. Based on his understanding of the true dominion, only he and Gue Haichuan of the Heaven Saber sect had mastered saber intent. Besides that, the person before him was the third person who was most likely to master intent. Qin Shujian used his spiritual eye to look at the person's attributes again. This time, he really remembered his name. Testing Sword Edge. This name was very unique. This was the first time he had seen this person's form. 5 minutes later, that person finally couldn't hold on any longer. He took 2 steps back and almost collapsed on the ground. However, he quickly came back to his senses and barely stabilized his body. However, his calm eyes had already been replaced by shock. As he looked at the surroundings that had returned to normal and thought about the previous scene, he finally felt Yuanzong's unfathomable methods. He was a physical invulnerability cultivator, but his mind had been captured by the saber cry without any resistance. If someone had attacked him during this time, they would have succeeded, although he had been caught off guard first in the end. Such methods were not comparable to physical invulnerability cultivators. After a while, everyone who had fainted woke up from the ground. Qin Shujian said in a low voice, "Congratulations on passing the final line of sight. From today onwards, you are Yuanzong's outer sect disciples. Those who are above the true martial realm will be Yuanzong's guest elders. Their status is equivalent to that of an inner sect deacon." "Thank you, sect master." "Okay." At this time, Qin Shujian stood up again and swept his gaze over everyone. The previously hidden loyalty points were now revealed one by one. The first thing he saw was Testing Sword Edge's loyalty point. It wasn't high, but it was still around 60 points. This was considered a recognition of Yuanzong. Besides that, most of the others were around 20 to 30 points. However, among them, there were also some people whose loyalty was negative. Qin Shujian also picked out these people with negative loyalty points and made them stand on the empty field on the right. They had suddenly been picked out. Guoquan was a little scared. However, Seeing that there were many people like him around, he felt a little relieved. This time, the Blue Cloud sect had sent him here to sneak into Yuanzhong and then find a chance to find out the details of Yuanzhong and send the relevant information back. To put it bluntly, he was here to be a snitch. When he was picked out, he thought that he had been exposed. However, from the looks of it now, it didn't seem like his identity had been exposed. After all, there were many people standing around him. They couldn't all be spies like him. Could it be that my talent has finally been discovered and Yuanzhong is going to focus on training me? Guoquan began to let his imagination run wild. After all, it wasn't that he hadn't thought about it. One day, his hidden talent would be exposed and he would become a popular person in the eyes of the strong. From then on, he would embark on the path of light and step into the peak of the true martial realm. Just as he was letting his imagination run wild, those who were standing in the same place all had different thoughts. No one knew what those people who had been picked out did. They were going to focus on training, or their talent was relatively poor. When Qin Shujian's gaze landed on them, Linjie and the others also felt uneasy. When the other party's target moved away from them, the few of them heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts, but they also faintly felt a little disappointed. The loyalty of local NPCs was basically 20 to 30. The loyalty of players was mostly based on the number of people. Qin Shujian once again deeply understood the indifferent nature of players. There were at least 2,000 players out of 3,000 people, but in the end, none of them had more than 10 loyalty. Suddenly, Qin Shujian's gaze fell on the other two people. One's loyalty was 95 points. The other's loyalty was 97 points. Could it be that in this batch of people, there were really people who were dead set on him when they just joined? Very soon, Qin Shujian's face darkened. There was no mistake that one's loyalty was 95 and the other's 97. However, when he looked at it seriously, he realized that it was a negative loyalty. At this moment, there was a sentence in his heart that he didn't know if he should say. It was almost a full negative loyalty. Was this the hatred of killing one's father or stealing one's wife? He was afraid that when such people came in, the first thing they wanted to do was to kill Yuanzhong. Chao Hong and Lu Qinghong are still two players. When did I offend them so badly? Why don't I have any recollection of it? In addition to being speechless, a doubt arose in Qin Shujian's mind. Logically speaking, it was impossible that he didn't have any recollection of such a deep hatred. However, looking through the memories in his mind, Qin Shujian could be sure. He really didn't have any memories of those two people. Subsequently, under the stunned gazes of Chao Hong and Lu Qinghong, they were also directly selected and then stood together with Guoquan and the others. Soon, the 3,000-plus people began to pick and choose. Only 2,500 people remained in their original positions. Qin Shujian came to a conclusion. This time, Yuanzhong opened the mountain gate. If not for his spiritual eye, at least 20 to 30% of traders would have sneaked in. This was the rhythm of completely destroying Yuanzhong. However, it was a pity. Before joining Yuanzhong, these people might be able to see the hidden forces behind them with their spiritual eye. However, if they did so, they would have to look at their loyalty again after they joined Yuanzhong, which would inevitably be a little cumbersome. Therefore, Qin Shujian skipped a step. When the other party joined Yuanzhong, the forces and their attributes would be replaced by Yuanzhong. In this way, it was even more impossible to know which forces were behind these people. However, for Qin Shujian, these were not the most important things. After all, Yuanzhong's power was not small now. When the mountain gate was opened, it was normal for others to want to sneak in to find out what was going on. Although there were too many people like this. The only thing that Qin Shujian felt fortunate was that although the traders hid deeply, they could not hide from the spiritual eye. When he looked at Chao Hong and the others again, his eyes were already filled with killing intent. Kill. He simply spat out a word. Qian Shanxue, who was floating above everyone's head, suddenly erupted with a terrifying blade aura, directly covering Chao Hong and the others. What? Not good. This sudden turn of events caused everyone to turn pale with fright. Looking at the saber aura that occupied their line of sight, Chao Hong and the others had just thought of something before they were completely swallowed up. Boom! In a split second, flesh and blood splattered and disappeared along with the white light. These people were all basic martial arts practitioners. None of them were in the true martial arts realm. When faced with the attack of a doctrine artifact, they had no resistance at all. However, this was normal. True martial arts practitioners were reputable figures in various sections. They were not suitable to be spies at all. Only inconspicuous people could be qualified for this job, including Tess Jianfeng. When they saw the blade aura coming down, their hearts trembled. At that moment, even physical invulnerability realm practitioners felt the threat of death. A doctrine artifact. It was definitely not something a true martial arts realm practitioner could fight against. Lin Shiji and the others also felt their hearts tighten. Many of them had a look of fear on their faces. Originally, there were still some people who felt regret in their hearts because they were not selected. At this moment, they were rejoicing that they had survived a calamity. If they were chosen, they would have already stepped into the gates of hell. Chapter 188. At the bound resurrection point, 10 minutes later, Chao Hong and Lu Qinghong were resurrected there. Both of them looked dumbfounded. When they checked their cultivation levels again, they realized that they had dropped by 1 level. When they checked the system log, they saw a notification. You were killed by the sect master of the origin sect, Qin Shujian. Qin Shu. Sword. Chao Hong gritted his teeth as anger surged in his heart. His face turned red and his eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. This was too detestable. He had been well-behaved ever since he had entered the origin sect. Even though he had many ulterior motives, he had never overstepped his boundaries on the surface. However, even so, he had still been killed by the Liang Mountain Fort Master once. It had been for no reason at all. There was no reason for it. Chao Hong did not know that his hatred, which was almost maxed out, had almost blinded Qin Shujian. This was as glaring as a red name in the wilderness. Of course, there was no such thing as a red name in this game. Lu Qinghong, who was standing aside, also remained silent. However, when he saw that the veins on his temples were about to burst, he knew that he was not in a good mood. It seems like we have underestimated this boss. He must have some means to recognize us. Otherwise, there is no reason for him to attack us without saying anything. Unless he is really violent and doesn't feel at ease unless he kills, Lu Qinghong analyzed calmly after his anger subsided. How do you know that he is not violent? Chao Hong's words made Lu Qinghong choke. That's right. When had this boss ever been kind? Ever since this boss had appeared on the forum, he had become famous by killing people. Regardless of whether they were players or NPCs, he had always killed them. What if it was not impossible that the boss had simply wanted to pick a few people out to kill? At this thought, Lu Qinghong started to doubt his own conjecture. Perhaps they were just unlucky. However, the origin sect was not a viable path. It was not safe to stay in the nearby True Dominion. If the sect was exterminated, it would be a double loss. We can't stay in the few true provinces around the Liang Mountain True Dominion. Unless we think of a way to infiltrate the Imperial Court, we can only be itinerant players. It's not easy to enter the Imperial Court. The players who have managed to sneak in now are basically at the bottom of the hierarchy. The cultivation techniques and martial arts that they obtain aren't that great either. That may be the case, but if we're talking about which faction is safer to face Yuanzhong, other than the Imperial Court, there aren't any other factions nearby. Lu Qinghong shook his head and said confidently, moreover, the Imperial Court's foundation is not something a sect can compare to. There is no harm in giving it a try. Hearing this, Chao Hong thought about it, and it seemed that this was the only path he could take. At this moment, the disciples who had joined the Yuan sect had basically been divided up by all the elders. Suddenly, there were more than 2,000 people. Just Mount Liang alone wasn't enough to accommodate all of them. Therefore, the 5 elders who went out to expand the branch each took nearly 2,000 people, which could be considered to be part of their branch. As for allowing the disciples to make their own choices, that was completely non-existent. Everyone knew. The spiritual qi on Mount Liang was abundant, and there were many powerhouses there. Therefore, it was best to stay here. Unless there was something wrong with their heads, who would choose to leave? This is Mount Liang. The spiritual qi is indeed abundant. Although it can't be compared to the big sects of the Soul region, I'm afraid it's not much worse. After changing into the Yuan sect's disciple uniform, Lin Jie felt the rich spiritual qi around him and secretly sighed in his heart. The density of the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. To a large extent, it determined the strength of a sect. Only a sect that was strong enough could sit on a spiritual mountain with abundant spiritual qi, or else, in the end, it would be snatched and occupied by other stronger sections. Other than Lin Jie, the rest of the Lin family felt the same. Afterward, Lin Jie called the others and whispered, "Don't practice the family's skill first. Wait until we get the Yuan sect skill, then we'll discuss it." Okay, the other 5 nodded as well. If they practiced other skills now, they might expose their existence in the Yuan sect. If the Yuan sect skill was really much worse than their family's, then, no matter how risky it was, they could only practice their family's skill. After all, if a skill was too bad, their growth was also extremely limited. Dong! 2 deep bell tolls were heard. Lin Jie and the others were stunned, but they quickly reacted. This was the prelude to the martial arts hall's lesson. Instantly, the few of them stopped talking and rushed towards the martial arts hall. I heard that the Yuan sect's outer disciple skills are all at the true level, so much better than what we learned in our original sect. This time, I finally have the chance to see it. I've heard of 4 special true level skills. Let's go quickly, don't let others beat us to it. Sukai was also excited as he hurried towards the martial arts hall with his companions. Yuan sect skill. Someone had already announced it on the forum. Originally, it was only mid-grade true level, but as players understood it more, they realized that this skill had a follow-up, and its grade rose straight to high-grade true level. Some people even speculated high-grade true level might not be the limit of this skill. Maybe. It was not impossible to reach the spirit level that no player had learned until now. This was also why there was another reason why so many players came to Yuan sect to recruit disciples this time. It was because the game map was too big that 99% of the players did not have time to go to the Liang Mountain True Dominion in just a few days. In addition, the teleportation gate was not something that ordinary people could use. Or else, the number of players who came to Yuan sect this time would at least increase by 10 times or 100 times. At that moment, a large number of people gathered in the martial arts hall, to the point where it was too crowded to fit in. Brothers in front, move a little further inside. Leave some space for me. Those behind, don't squeeze. If there's no space, come again next time. We're all on the same side. Can't you guys help each other a little? Give me a space. The scene was messy. Although the martial arts hall was not small, it could only accommodate 300 to 400 people. Now, the number of new outer disciples in Yuan sect had already exceeded this number. At that moment, a middle-aged man with a dignified appearance, wearing a green and white long robe, walked in from the other side. Seeing the noisy scene, he frowned and shouted coldly, "No noise in the martial arts hall." It was a simple sentence. When the others heard it, it was as if a large bell had rung beside their ears. Their hearts shook, and they could not help but shut their mouths. At that moment, everyone's gazes landed on him. Many people's faces turned serious. Green and white long robe, clear sky and white clouds. This was the symbol of an outer sect deacon. In the Yuan sect, a deacon represented an inner aura cultivator. Regardless of whether it was the players or the others, they were all at the basic martial arts level. An inner energy cultivator standing in front of them was still very impactful and intimidating. "I am the outer sect deacon, Zhao Shanlin. Since all of you have entered Yuan sect, I will teach all of you the foundational cultivation technique of the Yuan Dian. Now, everyone please remain silent. I do not wish to be disturbed by other voices when I am speaking." Zhao Shanlin looked coldly at the others, then sat down at the lecturer's seat and began to teach the Yuan Dian's basic martial arts level to the others. Originally, outer sect disciples could only learn the first 5 levels of the basic martial arts level. To obtain the complete basic martial arts level, One had to either become an inner sect disciple or spend contribution points to study in the library. However, as Yuan's sect became stronger and stronger, the first 5 levels of the basic martial arts level were no longer enough. So now, outer sect disciples could obtain the complete basic martial arts level. As for inner sect disciples, they could obtain the first 5 levels of the true martial arts level. As for the rest, they had to spend contribution points to exchange for it. Half a day passed. Almost everyone had memorized the Yuan Dian's basic martial arts level. After all, the basic martial arts level was not a very profound technique. In addition, these outer sect disciples had all been selected and had good aptitudes. Sukai looked at the stats board and saw that the words Yuan Dian had already appeared. Then, he threw all the remaining experience points due to his betrayal of the sect, which resulted in his martial arts being erased, into the Yuan Dian. Very quickly, the Yuan Dian was directly deduced to the 8th level. As he had entered the game late, although the sect in the game was accepting disciples, his real realm was only at the 8th level of the basic martial arts level. Looking at the 8th level of the Yuan Dian, the 4 special attributes appeared at the back. He was overjoyed. What a profound technique! It is not any weaker than my family's technique. After Lin Jie finished listening to the Yuan Dian's basic martial arts level, he compared it with his family's technique. In the end, he found both were basic martial arts level, but the Yuan Dian was slightly better than his family's technique. However, in consideration of his family's reputation, Lin Jie could only treat it as if the two were on par. However, just from the Yuan Dian's basic martial arts level, it could be seen that the Yuan sect, which had such a technique, might not reach the level of the Soul region, but it would definitely be a big sect. Other than the fact that they did not have a spirit martial realm powerhouse. Regardless of whether it was the spirit chi of the sect, the techniques, or the number of true martial realm powerhouses, the Yuan sect was not any weaker than those powerful sects in the Soul region. The only thing that was worse was the top powerhouse of the spirit martial realm. If that sect leader of the region level broke through, then the Yuan sect would definitely be reborn. On the other side, after Zhao Shanlin finished his lesson, he paused for a moment and continued. Every day, there will be different deacons giving lessons here. If you have any questions about cultivation, you can also come and ask for guidance. In addition, every other month, the Great Elder of Skills Imparting will personally come to explain martial arts. However, this requires a certain amount of contribution points. If you want to listen, I suggest you go to the mission hall to accept some missions during this period of time and try your best to accumulate more contribution points. After all, in the Yuan sect, contribution points are the most important. No matter if it is training techniques or martial arts, asking for guidance from the elders of the sect, or wanting to obtain divine weapons, they all need to be exchanged with contribution points. In response to Zhao Shanlin's words, everyone silently remembered it in their hearts. They had just arrived at the Yuan sect and were not very clear about many things. These words allowed these outer sect disciples to have a deeper understanding of Yuan Zong. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.